Chapter 556. The third stage, the profound stage. Ning Fan followed the Pill Sovereign into the heavenly dwelling of the third stage. As the Pill Sovereign waved his hand, the mirage clouds changed and the entire illusory realm turned into a world of flames. The ground was full of cracks, and under the cracks was surging magma. There were 10 suns hanging in the sky. Even a void refinement cultivator would find it hard to endure the scorching heat of this place. This is an illusion realm specially designed to test one's alchemy skills. Refining pills here can save a lot of time. According to the test standard of the Profound Gate, as long as you can concoct a 5th revolution pill, you will be able to pass the test. It's very easy for you to pass the test. However, this old man wants to take a closer look at what realm has your pill refinement mastery reached. I hope you can give it your all. The Pill Sovereign looked at Ning Fan with a faint smile. His murky eyes were filled with anticipation. He had set his sights too high and did not accept any disciples. It was only after meeting Ning Fan that the thought of accepting him as a disciple rose in his mind. Unfortunately, Ning Fan already had the old devil as his master. Thus, the Pill Sovereign had no choice but to give up the thought of taking him as his disciple. Ning Fan bowed respectfully. His intent realm transformed into a cauldron, condensing into a gigantic black cauldron. He clawed his hands in all directions, and the magma on the ground immediately boiled, surging with even more blazing flames. The flames of the earth flame lava slowly warmed up the pill cauldron. Ning Fan flicked his finger and a jade platform appeared in front of him. On it were many 50,000 years old spiritual herbs. The Pill Emperor's eyes swept across those elixirs indifferently and nodded in satisfaction. These are the medicinal ingredients needed to concoct the Void Inquiry Pill. The Void Inquiry Pill is a mid-grade 6th revolution pill. It's not easy to concoct. In the Rain world, there are no more than 3 people who can concoct this pill other than you and me. Start concocting it. Let this old man see your current pill refinement technique and also let all the cultivators in the Rain world witness it. If the Rain Emperor knows that your alchemy skills are impressive, he won't easily make a move on you in the future. The Pill Sovereign waved his sleeves, and the entire illusory realm suddenly shook. A huge inverted copper mirror suddenly appeared in the sky. At the same time, a fiery light flashed in the Rain God Palace and a bronze mirror also appeared. What was reflected in the bronze mirror was the scene of Ning Fan concocting pills in the illusory realm. The Pill Sovereign's action was to announce Ning Fan's mid-grade 6th revolution pill refinement technique to the entire world. Including Ning Fan, there were a total of 8 6th revolution pill refinement masters in Rain world. If Ning Fan could concoct a Void Inquiry pill, his pill refinement mastery would at least be ranked within the top 5 in the Rain world. Today, the Pill Sovereign was present. He could already tell that the Rain Sovereign had ordered revered Ming to spy on Ning Fan. He did not know why the Rain Sovereign was against Ning Fan. From his point of view, if the Rain Sovereign knew that Ning Fan was a genius in pill refinement, perhaps the Rain Sovereign would dispel his hostility towards Ning Fan because of his pill refinement. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the huge copper mirror that was hanging upside down in the sky. Then, he sighed softly. He could tell that the Alchemy Emperor had good intentions. He cupped his fists and bowed to the Alchemy Emperor. The Alchemy Emperor smiled and waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to stand on ceremony. In the Rain God Palace, all the old monsters shifted their gazes towards the copper mirror. All of them were quite interested in watching Ning Fan concoct pills. Some of the old monsters swept a glance at Ning Fan. When they noticed that the medicinal ingredients Ning Fan used were all 50,000 years old spiritual herbs, their eyes widened in shock. A 50,000-year-old spirit herb. Rumor has it that Marquis White Robe is the 8th 6th revolution pill refinement master in Rain world. As expected, he is going to refine a 6th revolution pill today. TSK, TSK, TSK. His bone age is only 900 years but he's already a 6th revolution pill master. Marquis White Robe's pill refinement talent is really rare in this world. He might be the next pill sovereign of our Rain world in the future. Most of the old monsters present at the scene were at the Void Refinement realm. Naturally, they could not underestimate a 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. Only an elderly man in green robes wore a proud and aloof expression. He shook his head and said disapprovingly, "The next Pill Sovereign? Hee hee. It's true that Marquis White Robe has remarkable abilities, but he might not necessarily be able to go far in the Tao of Pill Refinement. This man has become a 6th Revolution Pill Master at such a young age. His talent is not bad. However, he has killed too many people and his devil heart is hard to temper. I'm afraid he won't have any hope of attaining the mid-6th Revolution Pill Refinement realm in his lifetime." As soon as the elderly man's voice fell, everyone turned to look at him. The person who spoke was actually the sect master of the 5 Elements sect, Qing Yuanzi. Qing Yuanzi was a low-grade 6th Revolution Pill Master. He had always been sought after by others and he was extremely arrogant. Recently, he had even touched the bottleneck of the mid-6th Revolution Pill Refinement realm. He claimed that he could advance his Pill Refinement realm within 100 years. He concluded that it was impossible for Ning Fan to attain the mid-6th Revolution Pill Refinement realm in his lifetime. As soon as he said that, many old monsters agreed with him and nodded their heads inwardly. The Tao of Pill Refinement emphasized one's temperament the most. Ning Fan was a devil cultivator who had killed countless people. Thus, it was reasonable to say that it would be difficult for him to attain the mid-6th Revolution Pill Refinement realm. There were also some old monsters who looked at Qing Yuanzi with a strange expression. Their thoughts were elsewhere. Qing Yuanzi's temperament was extremely bad, but he was not a fool either. He clearly knew that Ning Fan was not someone to be trifled with, but he still spoke rudely and made him lose face. Was he secretly instructed by someone? The 5 Elements sect had always been very close to the 5th prince, Yun Zhongyan. Could it be that Yun Zhongyan had instructed Qing Yuanzi to say those words? Some old monsters secretly glanced at Yun Zhongyan. However, they saw a hint of delight hidden in Yun Zhongyan's eyes. He even gave Qing Yuanzi a praising look. Needless to say, the reason why Qing Yuanzi said those words to disgust Ning Fan was most likely because of Yun Zhongyan's instruction. After Qing Yuanzi ridiculed Ning Fan, he felt delighted. Just as his voice fell, one of the old monsters exclaimed in surprise. These are the medicinal ingredients for the Void Inquiry Pill. Marquis White Robe is concocting the Void Inquiry Pill. The person who spoke was an elderly man in white robes. He was standing under a bronze mirror, carefully observing the tufts of spiritual herbs on the jade platform in the mirror. He was the Valley Master of the Flowing Cloud Valley. He was just half a step away from breaking through to the Absolute Void stage. Flowing Cloud Valley was one of the 13 sects of the Central State. As the Valley Master of Flowing Cloud Valley, his words naturally carried a lot of weight. At the moment, he was holding a scroll of pill recipe in his hand. He was carefully comparing each tufts of spiritual herbs. He was even more convinced that what Ning Fan was concocting was a mid-grade 6th Revolution pill, the Void Inquiry Pill. Marquis White Robe is actually preparing to concoct Void Inquiry pills. Could it be that Marquis White Robe has already broken through to the mid-grade 6th Revolution Pill Refinement realm? Didn't fellow Taoist Qing Yun say that Marquis White Robe has no fate to break through to the mid-grade 6th Revolution Pill Refinement realm? Some of the old monsters looked at Qing Yunzi strangely. Qing Yunzi's face immediately turned red and he snorted coldly. Even though Marquis White Robe used the Void Inquiry Pill's medicinal ingredients, he might not necessarily be a mid-6th Revolution Pill Master. He definitely can't concoct this Void Inquiry Pill. As soon as Qing Yunzi finished speaking, a few other old freaks suddenly exclaimed in shock. What level of flame is this? Level 5 Earth Vein Demonic Flame. Grade 6 Mortal Void Fire. No, this is a 7th grade Immortal Void Fire. Marquis White Robe's Pill Refining Fire is actually an Immortal Void Flame. What kind of flame is this? It is actually stronger than ordinary Immortal Void Flames. Why have I never heard of this kind of black flame before? Qing Yunzi glanced at them from the corner of his eyes. This time, it was the 3 old men of the Wei-Chen sect who spoke out in shock. The reason why they were shocked was because Ning Fan had already summoned the black flame in the copper mirror and started to concoct the pill. That black flame was the fusion of 24 types of heavenly cold flames and earth flames. Its grade was comparable to a high-grade 7th grade immortal void flame. How can his spiritual flame be so strong? Qing Yunzi was so shocked that he could not utter a word. In the illusory realm, Ning Fan was unaware of the discussions in the outside world. His mind was as calm as still water as he began to concoct the pill. He summoned the cauldron of intent realm. He released the black flame. He inserted tufts of spiritual herbs into the pill refinement process and released a powerful medicine soul power. At the moment when he released his medicine soul power, his body glowed with a mysterious black light. His aura was extraordinary. In the entire illusory realm, countless black butterflies suddenly appeared. All of them were formed by his medicine soul. Qing Yunzi could clearly feel the strength of his medicine soul even though he was separated by the copper mirror. Qing Yunzi's smile froze on his face. He stared at the copper mirror and Ning Fan in disbelief. Even his voice trembled a little. 6th Revolution. Mid-grade 6th Revolution medicine soul. He asserted that Ning Fan would never be able to break through to the mid-grade 6th Revolution pill refinement realm in his lifetime. However, the current Ning Fan was already a mid-grade 6th Revolution pill refinement master. Fellow Daoist Qing Yun, it seems like your judgment is a little poor. Some of the old monsters looked at Qing Yunzi and said with a meaningful smile. Immediately, Qing Yunzi felt that his face had been greatly damaged and he was too ashamed to show his face. The facts had proven that Ning Fan's temperament was completely suitable to cultivate the Pill Island. The one whose temperament was not qualified seemed to be Qing Yunzi. It was not easy to concoct a void inquiry pill. An ordinary mid-grade 6th Revolution pill refinement master would need to spend at least 1.5 years to concoct a void inquiry pill. The quality of Ning Fan's flame was obviously higher than everyone else's. Moreover, the medicinal cauldron was formed from the 2nd step intent realm. Thus, his speed of concoction was far beyond that of ordinary old monsters. Even so, the entire pill concoction process still took half a month. It was not Ning Fan's first time concocting a void inquiry pill. He was already very familiar with the process. Half a month later, Ning Fan patted the lid of the cauldron and took out a void inquiry pill that he had successfully concocted. At this moment, the expressions of all the old monsters of the Rain God Palace changed. The facts had proven that Ning Fan was not only a 6th Revolution pill refinement master but also a mid-grade 6th Revolution pill refinement master. He was so young but his pill refinement mastery had already reached such a level. In the near future, it would not be difficult for him to become the next pill sovereign. The next pill sovereign. Even the Rain Sovereign was a little moved. A genius in the Tao of pill like Ning Fan would play a crucial role in the prosperity of the Rain world. Ning Fan's talent in the Tao of pill refinement was astonishing. If he becomes a 7th Revolution pill refinement master one day, the Rain Sovereign might even beg him for a few 7th Revolution pills in order to become an immortal. This young man has the Black Devil clan's background and he possesses the indestructible fire body. His talent in the Tao of pill refinement is even more terrifying. If he isn't the person who will stop me from becoming an immortal, I must rope him in. I must never offend him. The Rain Sovereign's eyes flashed with determination. Since he had successfully concocted the void inquiry pill, logically speaking, Ning Fan had already passed the profound trial. However, both Ning Fan and the pill sovereign did not leave the illusory realm even after a long time. Inside the illusory realm, Ning Fan kept the remaining spiritual herbs and sealed the void inquiry pill that he had just concocted. Then, he cupped his fists respectfully towards the pill sovereign. Elderly, please guide me. Even though Ning Fan had an unyielding character, he was not a conceited person. The pill sovereign was a senior in the Tao of pill refinement. He was very willing to learn from the pill sovereign. However, the pill sovereign closed his eyes and stroked his white beard. Then, he revealed a regretful expression. Even though there are some flaws, there aren't many of them anymore. It has only been a dozen years since we last met and your pill refinement mastery has actually reached such a level. If I have another 1,000 years, I'm afraid I won't be able to catch up to you anymore. Indeed, the younger generation will surpass the older in time. Ning Fan lowered his head respectfully, looking like he was listening to the Pill Sovereign's teachings without interrupting. The look of approval in the Pill Sovereign's eyes became even more intense. The outside world had heard that Ning Fan was a person who killed people without mercy and considered everyone beneath him. However, in the Pill Sovereign's opinion, Ning Fan was just a person who had a true temperament and was someone who valued courtesy and gratitude. Profound cultivators, devil cultivators, demon cultivators. These were not important at all. The Pill Sovereign raised his hand and patted Ning Fan's shoulder hesitantly. His eyes were filled with kindness as if he was looking at Ning Fan like a junior. You. Very good, Ning Fan's body tensed up. He had never been so close to any senior before. He was born without parents and his foster father never treated him well. Besides, the old devil was a disrespectful old man. This was the first time someone patted his shoulder and praised him. You. Very good, an indescribable feeling rose in Ning Fan's heart. His heart was filled with bitterness but also warmth. He thought of the old devil, his missing mother and the cold and indifferent Yun Tianjue. Perhaps, he could have been like an ordinary person who could enjoy the care, protection, and praise of his elders. However, fate had played a joke on him from the very beginning, forcing him to face everything on his own. He had to grit his teeth and persevere. Are you willing to follow me? The Pill Sovereign's eyes were filled with anticipation. Once again, he expressed his intention to accept Ning Fan as his disciple. I already have a master. Ning Fan said apologetically. AI. The Pill Sovereign heaved a long sigh. He felt a little disappointed but also a little envious. He envied the old devil for having such a good disciple. Ning Fan, your pill refinement technique is about to break through to the high-grade 6th revolution. I want to give you a big gift. I just don't know if you dare to accept it or not. What big gift? Ning Fan's eyes lit up. Do you want to see with your own eyes how to break through to the 7th revolution? The Pill Sovereign's eyes turned serious. The aura force of his medicine soul spread out from his body. Clearly, his power had already reached the 7th revolution. Currently, the Pill Sovereign's pill refinement technique was still at the peak grade 6th revolution. However, after many years of traveling in seclusion, he was already able to break through to the 7th revolution a few years ago. He had been suppressing his pill refinement realm and did not achieve a breakthrough just to let Ning Fan witness what it looked like when a 7th revolution pill refinement master achieved a breakthrough. My medicine soul is the soul of the divine tree. The Pill Sovereign's medicine soul spread out. Suddenly, a gigantic tree grew from the ground. It was black with a hint of purple. The black color had become extremely faint while the purple color had become extremely transparent. 6th revolution profound, 7th revolution purple. All the cultivators of the Rain God Palace turned pale with fright when they saw the scene in the bronze mirror. Even the Rain Sovereign himself rose to his feet. He quickly left the throne and rushed to the bronze mirror. He stared at the scene in the mirror excitedly. The Pill Sovereign's pill refinement technique is about to break through to the 7th revolution. 7th revolution. 7th revolution. 7th revolution. The first 7th revolution pill refinement master of the Rain world was about to appear. How could the Rain Sovereign not be happy? Qing Yuanzi looked at the bronze mirror enviously while feeling shocked. It was said that when a 7th revolution pill master made a breakthrough, he would trigger a soul transformation, borrowing the soul energy of heaven and earth to reconstruct his medicine soul. Usually, when a 7th revolution pill master was about to make a breakthrough, they would not allow anyone to stay in the vicinity to prevent others from taking away the soul power of heaven and earth, which would affect the effect of the medicine soul reconstruction. The Pill Sovereign was about to break through to the 7th revolution realm, but he asked Ning Fan to stay at the side and observe. He was not worried that Ning Fan would take away his soul power of heaven and earth at all. To him, observing a 7th Revolution Pill Master's breakthrough at such a close distance was an incomparably great opportunity. If he could secretly seize the heaven and earth soul energy of some pill emperors, he could even improve the quality of his medicine soul. Qing Yuanzi stared enviously at the copper mirror. Why wasn't he the one observing the pill sovereign's breakthrough? In the illusory realm, Ning Fan's eyes widened. However, the pill sovereign did not avoid Ning Fan at all. Instead, he trusted him greatly. He waved his hand and took out 2 cushions and placed them on the ground. He sat cross-legged on the ground and began to break through to rank 7. The other one was left for Ning Fan. He was not worried that Ning Fan would take away his soul power of heaven and earth at all. In fact, he even wanted to share some of his soul power with Ning Fan, just like how his master treated him. Quickly sit down and absorb the soul power. Don't waste this opportunity. The pill sovereign ordered in a deep voice. Ning Fan gritted his teeth. His eyes flashed with a complicated look. He actually did not know that the pill sovereign had treated him so well. However, how could he absorb the pill sovereign's soul power of heaven and earth? Repaying kindness with hatred, I won't absorb your soul power. He sat cross-legged on the cushion. He would never absorb the pill sovereign's soul power. He wanted to protect the pill sovereign and help him break through to the 7th revolution. Rumble.at this moment, the sky in the illusory realm suddenly cracked like an eggshell. Under the extended cracks, a gigantic black and white ring shadow was revealed. At the moment when the ring shadow appeared, Ning Fan felt his medicine soul trembling, as if it was about to collapse. Chapter 557. The moment the black and white rings appeared, the 10 suns in the sky of the illusion exploded one after another. The sky began to darken, but the earth began to shake. Magma surged and raging flames ignited volcanoes. The ring shadow flickered. Gradually, the heaven and earth were filled with an unimaginable soul power that could shatter the medicine soul of any 5th revolution pill master. This was the soul force of countless fallen pill refinement masters in the heavenly Tao. It was the reward given by the heaven and earth to a 7th revolution pill refinement master. A 5th revolution pill master was not qualified to observe the breakthrough of a 7th revolution pill master. A 5th revolution pill refinement master would not be able to withstand the impact of the soul power of heaven and earth. Volcanoes erupted one after another, and a rain of fire soared into the sky. However, it suddenly fell down, attacking the alchemy sovereign's position. Right now, Pill Sovereign was sweating profusely. He sat cross-legged with his eyes closed. He had already started breaking through the bottleneck of rank 7. Behind him stood a towering ancient tree. It was the form of his medicine soul. The ancient tree's branches were luxuriant and lush, emitting a faint layer of soul power light barrier that kept the rain of fire outside of the light barrier. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the sky. His face was solemn as he stared at the black and white rings. This black and white ring is the first ring of the heavenly Tao, the ring of life and death. If a cultivator at the first step of cultivation can't escape the restriction of the first ring of heavenly Tao, he won't be able to live forever. Luo Yu explained. Is this mere black and white ring shadow the heavenly Tao of the lower realm? Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. He must have offended the heavenly Tao of black and white. Perhaps it was an illusion, but when he raised his head to look at the black and white ring, he vaguely felt that the black and white ring had transformed into a huge eyeball. The pupil of the eyeball was black and white, and it blinked at him. When he tried to distinguish it, he found that the black and white ring did not change at all, as if it was just an illusion. For a split second, there seemed to be a trace of sharp qi that spread out from the ring shadow and locked onto Ning Fan. The heavenly Tao of the lower world seemed to have recognized Ning Fan. It recognized that this person was the one who had repeatedly captured the messengers of the heavenly tribulation and offended the heavenly prestige. Moments later, however, the qi that locked onto Ning Fan dispersed. Tian Huan had appeared today because Dan Huang had a breakthrough in pill skill. Even though the heavenly Tao hated Ning Fan, it had a clear distinction between right and wrong. It did not have the intention of punishing Ning Fan for violating the rules. All of a sudden, a lazy female voice spread out from the heavenly Tao ring and entered Ning Fan's ears. Other than him, no one else could hear this voice. Junior of the Rain Immortal World, you have guts to repeatedly injure my puppet from the lower realm. This old man has controlled Tianhuan for 150 million years. You are the first cultivator that dares to publicly defy the heavens. Although your sins are heavy, this old man can distinguish right from wrong. I will not punish you privately. I can see that you are not far away from the Void Ascension Heavenly Tribulation. This old man is looking forward to your death in the Heavenly Tribulation. I hope you can safely transcend the tribulation. That voice seemed to have chuckled. Then, it disappeared in an instant, as if it came from an extremely distant place. The Pill Sovereign and Luo Yu could not hear it. Only Ning Fan could hear it. Ning Fan's eyes widened in shock. Who exactly is the lady who uttered those words? How could her divine ability be so terrifying, ruling Tianhuan for 150 million years? Was this woman an immortal emperor? Ning Fan let out a sigh. He did not expect that he would be targeted by a terrifying lady while resisting the Heavenly Tribulation emissary. Fortunately, this lady was a person who enforced the law impartially. She did not do anything to Ning Fan. Even though the Heavenly Tribulations were getting more and more terrifying every time he faced the Void Glimpse stage Heavenly Tribulation, it did not mean that the Heavenly Tribulations did not leave him with a chance of survival. Even though Ning Fan's Heavenly Tribulation was terrifying, its power was still limited to the first step of the Heavenly Tao realm. It was not heaven-defying enough to summon an immortal tribulation. An immortal tribulation was a heavenly tribulation that the second step of the Heavenly Tao would bestow upon immortals. If Ning Fan encounters that kind of heavenly tribulation, he would die immediately without any need to struggle. With this lady's strength, she could kill Ning Fan in an instant. However, she did not abuse her strength and did not break the rules by summoning an immortal tribulation to kill him. Thus, she could not be considered as an enemy. Ning Fan could vaguely feel that even though this lady hoped that he would die in the next Void Pierce stage Heavenly Tribulation, she also seemed to be looking forward to him defying the heavens and overcoming the tribulation. The excessively terrifying Heavenly Tribulations might be a kind of test. As for the Heavenly Tribulation puppets, they were also considered as rewards. Ning Fan. What are you still doing? Quickly absorb the soul power that is scattered in the world. The Pill Sovereign suddenly opened his eyes and urged. Ning Fan did not say anything else. He had already decided not to absorb the Pill Sovereign's soul power. The soul power bestowed by heaven and earth to every 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Master was limited. Even if an ordinary peak 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Master completely absorbs the soul power bestowed by heaven and earth, they might not be able to break through to the 7th Revolution. If Ning Fan absorbs the soul power of heaven and earth from the Pill Sovereign, the success rate of the Pill Sovereign's breakthrough would be lowered. Ning Fan was not a kind person. It was just that the Pill Sovereign had treated him kindly. Thus, he would not repay his kindness with enmity. He suddenly stood up. He did not have the intention to absorb the soul power of heaven and earth. Instead, he turned into a ray of light, broke through the protection of the ancient tree and soared into the sky. I will help you block the tribulation. His words were concise, powerful, and unwavering. The Pill Sovereign was stunned when he heard what Ning Fan said. Then, his eyes were filled with gratitude. Silly child. This is a rare opportunity. If you absorb some of the soul power of heaven and earth, you might be able to attain the high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Refinement realm in one go. I don't lack opportunities in my life. If I don't have one, I can just snatch it by force. However, my Tao heart cannot be lacking. Ning Fan's eyes were resolute. He opened his mouth and swallowed the fiery rain that fell from the sky into his stomach. He waved his hand and gathered the scattered soul power of heaven and earth near the ancient tree for the Pill Sovereign to absorb. He took out several formation discs and formed layers of mortal void realm formation light near the ancient tree. He knew that the moment the pill sovereign absorbed all the soul power of heaven and earth, he would have to undergo the heavenly tribulations test. The pill sovereign's 7th revolution pill tribulation was not a trivial matter. If Ning Fan helped him, it could also increase the pill sovereign's chances of advancing to the next level. The pill sovereign sighed and closed his eyes. He could grant Ning Fan the opportunity. However, if Ning Fan insists on not accepting it, he could not force him to do so. After sighing, he felt more gratified than anything else. He did not misjudge Ning Fan. The disciple that he fancied was indeed an outstanding person. However, this young man already had a great teacher. Thus, he was not fated to be his disciple in this lifetime. Forget it. If you don't accept my soul power of heaven and earth, then this second lesson won't count. Why won't it count? Being able to observe a 7th revolution pill refinement master's breakthrough in pill refinement at such a close distance is a kind of opportunity in itself. Ning Fan looked up at the sky and laughed. Just like what he said, how many opportunities would there be in this world to observe a 7th revolution pill refinement master's breakthrough in pill refinement? Ordinary 7th revolution pill refinement masters were worried that others would seize the soul power of heaven and earth. Thus, most of them would choose a secluded place to achieve a breakthrough and would not allow anyone to observe them. The 6th revolution was like the heavens while the 7th revolution was like an immortal. Breaking through to the 7th revolution was much more difficult than the 6th revolution. It was not only difficult because of the change in the soul but also because most of them could not learn from the experience of others when breaking through to the 7th revolution. These pill refinement masters could only explore by themselves like a blind man walking in the dark. The pill sovereign sighed inwardly. He closed his eyes and said no more. In the Rain God Palace, each of the old monsters was shocked by Ning Fan's magnanimity. No matter if this person was a profound cultivator or a devil cultivator, his persistence in not seizing soul power was something that few people could do. In the world, there were a few 6th revolution pill refinement masters who could keep their hearts and not lose their Tao when faced with the opportunity of soul power given by a 7th revolution pill sovereign, even people like Chu Cheng, and began to feel admiration for Ning Fan. Yunchinga stared at the copper mirror with indifferent eyes and fell into deep thought. She was Yu Cheng's master and the daughter of a certain rain sovereign. She had always thought of protecting the Rain God Palace. Yu Cheng fell in love with a devil cultivator. She gave him the heaven-deceiving cloak and the blood of an insect sovereign. She even did not hesitate to steal the white tiger gauntlet. This made Yunchinga very angry. Yu Cheng did not tell Ning Fan that she did not ask for the white tiger gauntlet from her master. Instead, she stole it. Yunchinga already knew that the devil cultivator was Ning Fan. Thus, she naturally harbored some hostility towards him. She stubbornly thought that Ning Fan had bewitched Yu Cheng with some despicable methods. That was why she would do those reckless things. She stubbornly thought that Ning Fan had bewitched Yu Cheng with some despicable methods. That was why she would do those reckless things. Could it be that Cheng gave him these things willingly? Yunchinga seemed to have understood something. His eyes gradually became complicated. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. 7 days passed. The pill sovereign had absorbed all the soul power of heaven and earth within the illusory realm. He patted his storage pouch and took out an unknown pill and consumed it. That pill seemed to have the effect of tempering one's medicine soul. It gradually restrained the soul power that he had just absorbed. At the moment when the soul power was completely absorbed, layers of bone-chilling cold winds suddenly emerged between heaven and earth. Wherever the cold wind blew past, the cracked lava and earth flames on the ground were all strangely extinguished. Wherever the chilly wind blew past, the mountains and rivers were directly reduced to dust and dissipated. Wherever the cold wind blew past, even the ancient tree that protected the pill sovereign began to wither rapidly. In just an instant, the pill sovereign's medicine soul was severely injured. Blood flowed out from his lips and teeth and his eyes were filled with shock. What a strong wind tribulation! The Yin-Wind tribulation was a heavenly tribulation that only void fragmentation realm cultivators would encounter. The Pill Sovereign was a third heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. However, the Yin-Wind tribulation that befell him when he broke through to the third heavenly layer was not as powerful as this one. Facing such a powerful heavenly tribulation, even a Pill Sovereign who was well prepared would not have more than 50% chance of breaking through. As for the Pill Sovereign, he did not expect the Yin-Wind tribulation to be so powerful at all. He did not even have 10% chance of breaking through. The Yin-Wind tribulation that he encountered when he just broke through to the low-grade 7th Revolution Pill Refinement realm was actually comparable to the heavenly tribulation of a 4th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. Everyone in the Rain God Palace was shocked. Even the Rain Sovereign felt his scalp going numb. Everyone says that the 7th Revolution is like an immortal. At first, I didn't believe it. But now, it seems like it is true. Even I can't withstand such a powerful heavenly tribulation. This won't do. I must enter the illusory realm of the profound gate immediately and help the Pill Sovereign to overcome the tribulation. Even though the Rain Sovereign was also fearful of the Pill Sovereign, seeing that the latter was about to break through to the 7th Revolution Pill Refinement realm which would be of great use to him, he was naturally willing to please him. However, after shaking his body, his eyes suddenly turned cold. He realized that the illusory realm of the entire profound gate was locked by the power of the heavenly Tao. Even with his 5th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base, he could not break it. This is bad. I can't enter the profound gate. The Pill Sovereign is in danger. For the first time in his life, the Rain Sovereign hated himself for not being able to help the Pill Sovereign. In the past, even though he relied on the Pill Sovereign, he mostly suppressed him. After all, he was not willing to see the Pill Sovereign becoming stronger. If he saw the Pill Sovereign in danger in the past, he would certainly not be anxious. However, now that the Pill Sovereign was about to break through to the 7th Revolution Pill Refinement realm, the Rain Sovereign weighed the pros and cons again and chose to help the Pill Sovereign. Unfortunately, even he could not enter the illusory realm of the profound gate. There was no way he could help the Pill Sovereign at all. If the Pill Sovereign breaks through to the 7th Revolution Pill Refinement realm, the 7th Revolution Pill he concocts would be an important help for the Rain Sovereign to become an immortal. The Rain Sovereign's face was filled with rage. He had been looking forward to the emergence of a 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Master in the Rain world. However, the reality told him that the probability of this 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Master dying in the face of the terrifying Yin-Wind tribulation was 90%. Nothing must happen to the Pill Sovereign. He roared. Those who did not know the truth would think that he had a deep friendship with the Pill Sovereign. However, it turned out that he was just doing it for the sake of benefits. Inside the illusory realm, Ning Fan stood in the middle of the layers of Yin-Wind. His eyes were filled with deep astonishment. The moment the Yin-Wind tribulation appeared, he could not leave the illusory realm. Neither the Yuanya world nor the profound Yin world could enter it. This Yin-Wind tribulation was so terrifying that even the Pill Sovereign only had a 10% chance of successfully overcoming it. Naturally, he could not resist it. The layers of mortal void realm grand formations that he had set up were turned into ashes by the Yin-Wind tribulation in just an instant. The bone-chilling Yin-Wind tribulation then swept towards Ning Fan. He felt as if his body was about to turn into ashes. Immediately, his eyes flashed with surprise. Without any hesitation, he activated the Yin-Yang Devil Flames and formed a black fire wall, sealing off the area 10,000 zhang around the Pill Sovereign. The fusion of ice and fire, the harmony of Yin and Yang, was the Yin-Yang Flame. This flame was the fusion of 24 types of heavenly frost and earth flames. Its grade was at the high grade 7th grade. It contained a trace of Yin and Yang power which naturally had some resistance against the Yin-Wind tribulation. For a while, the Yin-Wind tribulation was blocked outside the fire wall. Ning Fan looked at the Pill Sovereign who was sitting cross-legged and gritted his teeth. At this moment, the Divine Wood's medicine soul was slowly undergoing a soul transformation inside the Pill Sovereign's body. However, Ning Fan had no idea about the specific changes. The sudden attack of the Yin Wind Tribulation just now severely injured the Pill Sovereign's medicine soul. For a while, he could not activate any magic power. The Pill Sovereign coughed out a mouthful of blood with a pale face. As soon as the blood came out of his mouth, it immediately turned into ashes and disappeared. He was severely injured by the Yin Wind Tribulation. Inwardly, he knew that his chances of breaking through to the 7th revolution today were slim. He did not even have the confidence to escape unscathed. He felt a little regretful. If he knew that the Yin Wind Tribulation was so terrifying, he would certainly not have given Ning Fan the benefits of the soul power of heaven and earth. If he knew that this tribulation would be so powerful, he would certainly choose a secluded place to pass the tribulation alone. Even if he fails to transcend the tribulation, he would only lose his life and it would not implicate anyone else. He suddenly understood why so many 7th Revolution Pill Masters were so cautious when they were breaking through to the 7th Revolution. They would avoid being noticed by others and not let their close friends watch them. Perhaps, some of them were unwilling to share the soul power of heaven and earth with others. Perhaps, some of them were not confident that they could successfully transcend the tribulation and were reluctant to let their disciples and juniors take the risk. The Pill Sovereign let out a long sigh and took out an ancient brown wooden token from his storage pouch. It was unknown how many years of history that wooden token had. No one knew what kind of ability it had, but it seemed to contain a trace of mysterious power. The moment the wooden token was taken out, the entire illusory space began to tremble. In the Rain God Palace, the Rain Sovereign stared at the token in the bronze mirror with mixed feelings. This is the token of the World Tree. Rumor has it that there used to be a type of ancient tree in the Eastern Heaven Immortal World called the World Tree. The world flower that blooms on it naturally carries a heavenly dwelling space. The world barrier fruit that grows from its flower naturally contains a small kiliocosm. A piece of bark from the world tree can be made into a token. With this token, a cultivator can instantly escape from this small kiliocosm even if he or she is trapped in it. This token can only be used once and it can only bring one person out at a time. It will be destroyed after being used. With this token, the Pill Sovereign can escape from this heavenly dwelling. However, Ning Fan will still be in danger. The Rain Sovereign gritted his teeth. There was only one token. Even if the Pill Sovereign could escape, Ning Fan would still inevitably die under the Yin Wind Tribulation. Both of them are related to my great plan to become an immortal. Whoever dies will be a loss. What should I do? The Rain Sovereign slammed his fist on the dragon table. A moment later, the Pill Sovereign did something that many cultivators in the Rain God Palace found unbelievable. He gave the World Tree token to Ning Fan. Quickly activate this medallion and leave this world. I implicated you in this calamity, so I can't let you die here. Ning Fan's eyes widened. He did not take the token. In the face of life and death, the Pill Sovereign chose to kill himself and let Ning Fan live. This made Ning Fan clench his fists tightly. Ning Fan gritted his teeth. He still had to protect his loved ones and avenge his blood. He could not die here. It was a wise decision. He should take the token and escape alone. If he escapes, the Pill Sovereign would still have a 10% chance of successfully transcending the tribulation. He might not necessarily die, however, no matter what, the current Ning Fan could not be a wise person. He had never claimed to be a smart person. Smart people would know how to protect themselves. He did not know how to, he only knew that he must repay the kindness of a meal and he must avenge the grudges of a small grudge. He could kill millions of people without being moved, but he would not watch the people he cared about die in front of him. He did not run nor did he hide. So what if it was the Yin Wind Tribulation? Was it enough to make him kneel down and be afraid of death? Ning Fan placed his palm on his storage pouch and suddenly took out the two Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets, Zhihua and Zhidian. Explode! The chilly wind covered the entire sky. No one could clearly see what Ning Fan had detonated. Only the Pill Sovereign who was standing close to him could see it clearly. However, the moment the two puppets self-detonated, an unimaginable destructive force destroyed the mysterious gate. The self-detonation of two first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets was enough to disperse the heavenly tribulation of a fourth heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. At the moment when the profound barrier was destroyed, Ning Fan carried the severely injured Pill Sovereign on his back and picked up the countless fragments of the two spiritual puppets. Then, he took advantage of the chaotic power of the heavenly Tao and escaped from the profound barrier. Ning Fan did not care about the destruction of his puppets and the failure of his breakthrough. The Pill Sovereign was carried on Ning Fan's back and they managed to escape from this place, leaving the Yin Wind tribulation behind in the ruins of the profound pass. The medicine soul in his body was slowly transforming. He only needed to go into seclusion to stabilize his medicine soul before he could officially break through to the 7th revolution. He succeeded in breaking through to rank 7, but he did not feel joy, only guilt as tears streamed down his face. He saw it clearly. In order to save his life, Ning Fan destroyed two of his void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets. He did not know why Ning Fan had two void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets, but he did not intend to ask either. He only knew that no one would be willing to destroy two void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets in order to save him. Only Ning Fan would be willing to destroy such precious spiritual puppets. Ning Fan, you destroyed two of your spiritual puppets in order to save me. I owe you my life. The Pill Sovereign did not know what to say. Inwardly, he was determined that as long as he is alive, he would not allow anyone to lay a finger on Ning Fan. It's just two spiritual puppets. You don't have to worry about it. Compared to my life, these spiritual puppets are nothing. Besides, it's not like they can't be repaired. Ning Fan waved his hand, signaling the Pill Sovereign not to thank him. However, he was smiling bitterly inwardly. The two void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets had self-detonated and turned into countless fragments. Can they really be repaired? Even though void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets were precious, Ning Fan did not regret what he did. The reason why he could roam the world unhindered in his entire life was just to have a clear conscience. In the Rain God Palace, each of the old monsters was dumbfounded. They did not know what kind of method Ning Fan had used to actually destroy the Pill Sovereign's Yin Wind tribulation. Even the Rain Sovereign could not believe what had just happened. His eyes turned grim as he thought to himself, what a terrifying ability Ning Fan has. He can actually destroy such a powerful Yin Wind tribulation. Isn't this young man hiding his abilities too deeply? He began to feel fearful and guarded against Ning Fan again. However, the Rain Sovereign would certainly not investigate the method Ning Fan used to destroy the Yin Wind tribulation. In any case, it was indeed a joyous occasion that the Pill Sovereign and Ning Fan, who were of great value to him, were still alive. Before the crowd could ask him about the details, Ning Fan was suddenly stunned. The merit points on his Palace Lord token had increased by 10 billion again. With a flash of silver light, a jade box that shone with soul light appeared in front of him. It seemed to be the reward for clearing the 3rd stage. This is... Ning Fan's eyes flashed. With this item, it seemed like he would not need to spend too much time to attain the high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Realm. In the Purple Mansion Academy of the Southern Heaven Immortal World. A female immortal in purple robes was leisurely sitting in the 8 trigrams palace with her hands clasped behind her back. The bronze floor beneath her feet was reverberating with the shadows of circles that looked like ripples on the surface. Through those ripples, she seemed to be able to see the stars in the sky. The female immortal stared at the ripples on the bronze floor as if she could see a tiny void refinement realm young man who was countless star regions away. After witnessing Ning Fan destroying the 2 puppets, the lazy expression on the female immortal's face suddenly revealed a hint of surprise. He is indeed an unexpected devil cultivator. He dares to snatch my tribulation summoning puppet. He is a lawless devil lord. However, he destroyed his 2 puppets in order to save someone. This is really out of my expectation. Even though this young man is just a cultivator from the mortal world, he is still a rare talent. However, this void-pierced stage heavenly tribulation still has to descend. Now, I am a little reluctant to let him die under the heavenly tribulation. Life and death, you shouldn't be angry at this young man. He isn't an unforgivable villain. Why do you have to target him like this? The female immortal in purple robes looked at the shadows of the rings beneath her feet lovingly. The shadows of the rings suddenly trembled like ripples on water. An auspicious bird that was half black and half white flew out from the rings and landed on the female immortal's shoulder. Then, it chirped at the female immortal in bird language as if it was making a fuss. Gee, little bird seemed to be angry. Little fool, why are you arguing with a junior of the rain world? You are one of the Tao spirits of the first ring of the heavenly law. You can't be so willful. The Fuli sect has been annihilated, the heavenly Tao is no more. If you act willfully, I will not be able to protect you anymore. Chirp, silly bird seemed to be afraid. Continue to descend tribulation on this kid. You can make the tribulation more severe, but you must leave him a chance of survival. Alright, little dummy, you can go now. I still have to calculate the heavenly cycle tribulations. I don't have time to listen to your complaints. The woman lightly patted Silly Bird's head, causing Silly Bird to fly back into the ring shadow. The hall returned to a deathly silence. Only the sound of the moving stars reverberated in the hall. The female immortal seemed to have forgotten about Ning Fan very quickly. There were too many people that she needed to pay attention to. It was impossible for her to care about a single person. There were only 3 words carved on the 8 trigrams palace. Palm Calamity Palace. Chapter 558. After the 3rd stage, the alchemy sovereign's injuries were not light, and he still needed to stabilize his alchemy realm. Ning Fan was also affected by the explosion in the 3rd stage and suffered quite a severe injury. He could only give up on the 4th stage. Even though the Rain Sovereign still had some doubts, he did not have the mood to investigate Ning Fan's background for the time being. The Rain Emperor's mind was completely focused on helping the Alchemy Emperor recover from his injuries, and the reason for this was self-evident. Even the entire Rain Immortal world became excited because of Pill Emperor. The Pill Sovereign was the only Pill Refinement Master in the Rain Immortal world who had broken through the 7th Revolution. With him around, the improvement of the Void Fragmentation Realm's cultivation base in the Rain world was just around the corner. The title of being the weakest in the 9 worlds could finally be removed one day. This made many old monsters of the Rain world very excited. Ning Fan was also recuperating in the Scarlet Heaven Palace. It had already been a month. That day, he did not attempt the 4th stage, which unwittingly prevented him from crossing swords with Yunchinga. Although Yunchinga's hostility towards Ning Fan had gradually dissipated, over the past month, apart from healing his injuries, he had also started to reflect on the danger he encountered in the 3rd stage. Ning Fan had to admit that he had somewhat underestimated the heavenly tribulation and the heavenly Tao of the mortal world after subduing the puppets of the heavenly tribulation twice in a row. The mysterious lady who appeared in the heavenly Tao ring was too powerful. It made Ning Fan's blood run cold. It was absolutely not his wish to be targeted by such an expert. Fortunately, the lady didn't have any intention to target him. It could be considered as a blessing in misfortune. The destructive power of the Yin Wind Tribulation at the 4th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm was indeed a little terrifying. It made Ning Fan, who had always looked down on the power of heavenly tribulations face to face for the first time, the Yin Wind Tribulation of the 4th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm nearly turned the Pill Sovereign into ashes. Ning Fan rubbed his forehead and felt a headache. The Yin Wind Tribulation was indeed not easy to deal with. The destructive power of his Void Inquiry Stage heavenly tribulation was already equivalent to the 1st heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Luckily, it was a lightning tribulation and he managed to overcome it. The heavenly tribulation of the Void Pierce stage is certainly stronger than the heavenly tribulation of the Void Inquiry stage. At the very least, it has the destructive power of the 2nd heavenly tribulation of the Void Fragmentation Realm. The heavenly axiom had already sent fire and thunder tribulations, so it would not send these tribulations again. Who knew what the next heavenly tribulation would be? If it was the Yin-Wind tribulation, it would be very bad. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the puppet fragments that were scattered all over the ground. Although he did not regret destroying his two sons, he still felt a little heartache. Now that the puppet had been broken into these pieces, could it still be repaired? Even if Ning Fan had countless immortal jades, he still felt that it was impossible to repair it. If it was an ordinary puppet that was damaged to this extent, it naturally couldn't be repaired. However, these two puppets had ancient symbols on their bodies, possessing a bit of tribulation power. They were heavenly tribulation emissaries, their status is special. Even though the two heavenly tribulation puppets had been smashed into pieces, the fragments still retained some spirituality. If it's in the four heavens, there might be a puppet master who can repair these puppets. If it's in the lower world. Hee, my good brother, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to repair these two puppets. Luo Yu pursed her lips and giggled in the profound Yin world. Is it difficult to repair? Ning Fan sighed. Whether it could be repaired or not was a matter of luck. A month had passed, and he had fully recovered from his injuries. Over the past few days, he had been receiving messages from the Pill Emperor, Yun Bushu, Yu Chong, and the others. The Pill Sovereign's injuries had already stabilized and there were no longer any major problems. This made Ning Fan feel slightly relieved. He had given Ning Fan a large number of healing pills. That was the reason why Ning Fan's injuries could heal so quickly. Most of the messages that Yu Chong sent to Ning Fan were filled with concern and affection. Ning Fan shook his head and chuckled. However, his heart also felt a little warm. Yun Bushu told Ning Fan about the recent movements in the rain world. Even though Ning Fan never left his house, he knew everything that was happening in the world. Yun Tianjue was still searching for the whereabouts of the broken swords of the four heaven-suppressing swords. He had yet to return to the middle state. The Rain Sovereign temporarily dispelled his suspicions towards Ning Fan and placed all his attention on the Pill Sovereign. However, according to Yun Bushu, the Rain Sovereign would assign a mission to Ning Fan in the next few days. It was related to the inextinguishable fire body. Days passed. Ning Fan's injuries were fully healed. Then, he began to deal with the spoils of war in the four trials of heaven and earth. He naturally needed to find an opportunity to go to the ruling Sky City to spend the 30 billion merit points. He should be able to exchange them for a lot of things. The rain intent of the Rain Ancestors' blood rain was vast. With Ning Fan's current level of rain intent, he was still unable to refine this rain. He could only do so in the future. As for the Tao fruit of the frozen rogue immortal, Ning Fan did not dare to consume it for the time being. Once he consumes and refines it, his magic power of 2 million units would immediately make him face the Void Pierce stage. However, after witnessing the scariness of the Yin-Wind tribulation, Ning Fan knew that he was far from being ready to face the tribulation. Thus, he could not consume the Tao fruit for the time being. After breaking through the third trial, the profound trial, Ning Fan obtained a low-grade 7th Revolution Flying Dragon pill. This pill was concocted using the soul of a Void Fragmentation Realm Flying Dragon. It could improve the medicine soul realm of a 6th Revolution Pill Master. After consuming this pill, Ning Fan's medicine soul realm, which was originally at the mid-grade 6th Revolution, improved significantly. He was already not far away from breaking through to the high-grade 6th Revolution. He was just one step away from breaking through to the high-grade 6th Revolution. Ning Fan dealt with many items. The only thing he did not know how to deal with was the item that he traded with Chu Chang'an. It was a heart. A heart that flowed with silver blood. The previous owner of this heart was at least a life immortal realm expert. Moreover, he was proficient in the Tao of lightning. However, judging from the age of the heart, the lightning immortal had passed away at least tens of millions of years ago. After this person died, the lightning power in the heart did not disperse. Instead, it continued to provide a vast amount of magic power to make the heart beat. This really shocked Ning Fan. When immortals transcend life and death, even their flesh and blood would become extremely mysterious. or could it be that there were other mysteries behind it? The first reason why Ning Fan was willing to exchange this heart with Chu Cheng and was naturally because of the vast lightning power within it. The lightning power within it was extremely pure. It was countless times purer than the undead spirit primordial lightning in the lightning tower. If he absorbs the lightning power within it, perhaps his primordial lightning armor would become even stronger. The Blood Dragon Demon's sword was only useful to the Blood Dragon clan. This lightning immortal's heart, on the other hand, was infinitely useful to any lightning cultivator. From this point of view, it was not a loss for him to exchange the demon's sword for the lightning heart. However, there was actually a second reason why Ning Fan agreed to exchange the heart. Chu Cheng might not necessarily understand the second reason. Ning Fan held the beating heart in his hand and studied it carefully. On the surface of the heart, there was a mysterious silver aperture. That aperture was like the mouth of a spring. Traces of lightning power were constantly flowing out from it. From Ning Fan's point of view, the reason why this lightning immortal's heart could provide an endless supply of lightning power and make it beat was because this heart aperture was constantly overflowing with lightning power. What kind of aperture is this? It can actually still produce lightning power endlessly even after its owner has passed away for tens of millions of years. That aperture was opened very crudely. It seemed like this lightning immortal did not know the true method of opening the aperture in his heart. Due to the crudely opened heart aperture, the amount of lightning power produced was very limited and almost negligible. However, after accumulating it for tens of millions of years, the lightning power contained in this small heart had become really terrifying. This is the heart aperture technique of the Four Heavens Divine Clan. Luo Yu suddenly exclaimed. Heart aperture technique? Yes. It's a secret technique of the Four Heavens Divine Clan. It's said that this technique was created by imitating the heart of an ancient god in order to make up for the lost heart of the ancient god. This technique is very powerful. If one can open a heart aperture in one's heart, the heart aperture will continuously produce magic power on its own and increase the cultivation speed of the cultivator. However, the cultivation of this technique is very difficult and cruel. Every time one carves out a heart aperture, one needs to refine it for 1,000 years and endure the pain of having one's heart gouged out for 1,000 years. Moreover, one can't use magic power arbitrarily for 1,000 years. Heart aperture. What exactly is the heart of an ancient god? Do you know a thing or two about it with your previous identity? My previous identity. In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu seemed to have thought of the past. Her eyes darkened. After a while, the frown on her face disappeared and she shook her head. I don't know. Even in the past, my understanding of the heart of an ancient god was limited to one sentence. The heart with 3 apertures can transform into the heart origin. The heart with 7 apertures can establish a heart realm. I don't know the profound meaning behind this sentence. I'm just guessing that the divine abilities of the ancient god clan are probably related to the heart aperture. That's why there are people who imitate the divine heart and open the heart aperture. In the past, I had secretly learned the heart aperture technique and opened up 7 heart apertures in my heart. However, I didn't understand anything about the heart origin or the heart realm. However, the speed of my magic power cultivation has increased by more than 2 times. Luo Yu's temperament was extremely stable. Previously, she was only slightly absent-minded when she recalled the past. Now that she had recovered her mental state, she naturally returned to her charming and enchanting personality. After listening to Luo Yu's words, Ning Fan felt pity for her and did not know how to comfort her. Ning Fan had no idea about her past at all. He didn't know what kind of blood feud she had to bear to search for the yin-yang locket and choose the dirty yin-yang transformation to cultivate. She had carved out 7 heart apertures in her heart. Therefore, she must have endured the pain of having her heart gouged out for 7,000 years. How many people in this world could endure the pain of having their heart gouged out for 7,000 years? Ning Fan sighed. He vaguely understood Luo Yu better now. From a certain point of view, Luo Yu was very similar to him. My good brother, if you want to cultivate the heart aperture technique, I can teach you. However, I believe that you can endure the pain of having your heart gouged out for 1,000 years. However, I also believe that you don't have the time to cultivate this technique. Therefore, I think I won't teach you this technique. I really don't have the time to cultivate this technique for 1,000 years. Ning Fan stopped talking about the matter of the heart aperture to prevent Luo Yu from recalling her sad memories. He studied the lightning immortal's heart for a long time. Eventually, he decided to refine it into his body. With the help of several spiritual herbs, Ning Fan swallowed the lightning immortal's heart and summoned his primordial lightning armor to slowly refine it. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, on the 4th day, the grade of the primordial lightning armor continued to improve. It was just one step away from breaking through to the 4th level of the golden grade. Ning Fan did not say much. He consumed a bottle of 6th revolution pills which contained lightning power and continued to refine the lightning immortal's heart. On the 7th day, his primordial lightning armor broke through to the 4th level of the golden grade. It was now strong enough to defend against an absolute void stage attack. The remaining power of the lightning immortal's heart still went into the lightning armor. On the 9th day, the power of the lightning immortal's heart was on the verge of exhaustion. On the 11th day, he completely refined the lightning immortal's heart. His primordial lightning armor broke through to the peak of the golden grade. The current primordial lightning armor could even defend against a single attack from a grand void stage expert. Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of murky qi. Before he could adjust his breathing, he suddenly received a golden message-transmitting flying sword. It was from the Rain Sovereign. It was actually a secret order. It was a secret order for Ning Fan to keep a low profile and head to the tree world alone. Chapter 559. In the Scarlet Heaven territory, Ning Fan sat alone at the belly of the Cloud Mountain and remained silent for a long time. He had never thought that the Rain Emperor would give him such a mission. In this message transmission jade slip, the Rain Sovereign roughly explained the reason why he wanted to borrow Ning Fan's inextinguishable flame body. The immortal burning valley of the Western Flame Country was the former site of the Shedding Orchid sect. In the deepest part of the immortal burning valley, there was a forbidden area with interweaving immortal flames. It was called the Fallen Abyss. Even void fragmentation realm fire cultivators could not enter that place. The Rain Emperor had once explored the Fallen Abyss, and had made several attempts. However, he was unable to enter this place. However, he could sense a terrifyingly rich medicinal aura emanating from this forbidden land. According to the Rain Emperor's investigation, there was an 8-revolution alchemical pill sealed in the Fallen Abyss, and this 8-revolution alchemical pill was the sect-guarding pill of the Shedding Orchid sect. Low-grade 8-revolution pill, emergence pill. Any void fragmentation realm cultivator who consumes it has a very small chance of directly ascending to immortality. If a peak void fragmentation realm cultivator were to consume it, he would have at least a 30% chance of directly ascending to become an immortal. The Rain Sovereign was a cultivator at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. If he consumed the emergence pill, the probability of him directly becoming an immortal was not high. However, even if he failed, he could at least advance to the void fragmentation realm by 1 heavenly layer. Moreover, the emergence pill would lay an immortal foundation in the Rain Sovereign's body. In the future, if the Rain Sovereign cultivated to the peak stage of the void fragmentation realm, his chances of ascending to immortality would still be 30% higher than ordinary cultivators. The reason why the Rain Emperor had painstakingly schemed to enter the Fallen Abyss was precisely for that 8 revolutions emergence pill. This matter was very secretive. Even the princes didn't know what was sealed in the Fallen Abyss. The Rain Sovereign did not reveal anything about the emergence pill to anyone. If the news about the emergence pill were to be leaked, all the void fragmentation realm experts in the 9 worlds would probably be in an uproar and come up with ways to snatch the emergence pill. It was especially so for some rogue immortals who were stuck at the void fragmentation realm and were unable to ascend. For the sake of this emergence pill, perhaps they would even massacre the entire Rain world. The Rain Sovereign had only told Ning Fan about the emergence pill. It couldn't be helped. If he didn't tell Ning Fan about this, Ning Fan wouldn't be able to help him complete the mission. The emergence pill is of great importance, you must not leak any information about it. The immortal fire of the fallen abyss is very powerful, and there are still 3 years before the tide of the sea of fire is at its weakest. 3 years later, it will be the best time for you to enter the immortal burning valley. Before that, I want you to secretly go to the tree world. In the fire tree clan of the tree world, there is a divine spring called the Zhurong Spring. It is unsealed once every 100 years. If a void refinement realm cultivator were to soak in this spring, not only would he be able to increase his cultivation base, but he would also be able to increase his physical body's defense against fire. In another year, the Fire Tree clan will unseal the Zhurong Spring and open up a certain number of slots for cultivators to enter it to cultivate. I hope that you can go to the Fire Tree clan and fight for a slot to enter the Zhurong Spring to cultivate for a while. This will increase your chances of obtaining the emergence pill. After the order was delivered, the golden sword transmitting flying sword immediately turned into dust and dissipated. He did not expect that the Rain Sovereign would ask him to go to the tree world. After the flying sword finished delivering the message, the Lord of the Rain God Palace, Han Song-zi, personally visited Ning Fan and handed him a golden storage pouch. It was a reward from the Rain Sovereign. Apart from 10 billion immortal jade, there were also 5 void refinement realm Dao fruits, 10 bottles of 6th revolution pills, 3 low-grade 7th revolution pills, 5 peak mortal void realm magic treasures and 2 golden jade slips. The jade slips contained a terrifying magic technique called the Rain Gate technique. It was left behind by a peak void fragmentation realm divine sovereign of the Rain Palace. It could be used to open the Rain Gate and directly descend to the other 9 worlds. After reaching the Rain Sovereign's cultivation base, he would more or less have some secret techniques that allowed him to descend to the other worlds secretly. However, he would usually not use them. Even if he uses them, he would do it secretly. It was an extremely arrogant act to descend to the Rain world openly like Moksha Sovereign. The Rain Sovereign only had 4 of these jade slips. After giving Ning Fan 2 of them, he only had 2 left. One of the techniques recorded in the 2 jade slips was located in the tree world while the other one was located in the middle state of the rain world. If Ning Fan activates the jade slip to locate the tree world, he could open up a world tunnel and secretly sneak into the tree world. After completing the mission, he could activate the other jade slip and sneak back to the rain world. This time, in order to let Ning Fan go to the Fire Tree clan to increase his fire resistance, the Rain Sovereign had already gone all out. He even gave Ning Fan 2 of the Rain Gate jade slips. The Rain Sovereign was not afraid that Ning Fan would betray him. In his opinion, Ning Fan was a smart man. All of his relatives and friends were in the rain world. It was impossible for him to flee to the tree world alone and never return. After keeping the Rain Sovereign's reward, Ning Fan pondered for a while. Currently, he had yet to break off his relationship with the Rain Sovereign. If the Rain Sovereign wants him to go to the tree world, he would be willing to go. Ning Fan had heard of the Zhurong Spring of the Fire Tree clan in the tree world before. It was said that a void glimpse stage cultivator had once cultivated in it. When he left 3 years later, he directly broke through to the void inquiry stage. That Zhurong Spring could greatly increase one's cultivation base. It could also increase a cultivator's resistance to fire. Ning Fan did not have any objection about going to the Zhurong Spring to cultivate. The best time to enter the Fallen Abyss is 3 years later. In other words, I can only stay in the tree world for 3 years at most. 3 years is enough for me to go to the Fire Tree clan and enter the Zhurong Spring to cultivate. I can't afford to make any mistakes in the trip to the tree world. I need to make thorough preparations before I go. To me, going to the tree world is also an opportunity. With my current magic power and cultivation base, I might be able to break through to the Void Pierce stage after I enter the tree world. UE needs to improve its grade. It's better to break through to the first grade as soon as possible. If I can improve it to the first grade, I will most likely be able to find my mother in one go with the Rain Ancestors technique. Yun Tianjue has yet to return. I'm afraid I can't return this blood wine gourd to him for the time being. He's my father, but I don't know how to face him. Ning Fan let out a sigh. With a flash, he directly left the Cloud Mountain and flew towards the ruling Sky City. After sweeping through the 8 palaces and passing through the 3 trials, Ning Fan's name had already spread across the Rain world. Ning Fan flew at full speed. As soon as the cultivators he met saw him, they would immediately stop on the clouds in awe and salute him respectfully. The Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace, Marquis White Robe, the strongest devil in the Rain world and a mid-grade 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. With these halos on Ning Fan, no one dared to underestimate him at all. The reason why he rushed all the way to the ruling Sky City was to exchange for 30 billion merit points. The Rain Sovereign had given him a mission which was beneficial to him. Thus, he decided to go to the Tree World and complete it. Before he leaves, he naturally needed to make thorough preparations. He directly flew to the center of the ruling Sky City. Han Song-zi seemed to know that Ning Fan would come. He had already received the Rain Sovereign's order and received him respectfully. This old man greets Marquis White Robe. May I know if Marquis White Robe has come to the ruling Sky City to exchange for merit points? That's right. If that's the case, please follow me to the Merit Tower of the ruling Sky City. The Merit Tower of the ruling Sky City had a total of 6 floors. The first 4 floors were open to Void Glimpse Stage, Void Inquiry Stage, Void Pierce Stage and Absolute Void Stage cultivators respectively. The 5th floor of the Merit Tower was only open to 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Masters and Old Monsters at the Origin Returning Stage and Absolute Void Stage. The 6th floor of the Merit Tower was only open to Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators like the Rain Sovereign to exchange for items with their merit points. Han Song-zi had already received the Rain Sovereign's secret order. If Ning Fan needs it, he could allow him to enter the 6th floor. This made Han Song-zi inexplicably shocked. He could not imagine that Ning Fan's importance in the Rain Sovereign's heart was actually comparable to the Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the Rain world. Therefore, he treated Ning Fan with even more respect. He did not dare to show any neglect at all. Ning Fan followed Han Song-zi all the way to the Merit Tower. It was a silver-colored pagoda. There were layers of formation seals outside the pagoda. There was also a giant tortoise stone statue and 2 rain lion stone statues. Inside the giant tortoise stone statue was the soul of a first heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm turtle demon. It was none other than the turtle demon who was guarding the ruling Sky City. The 2 rain lion stone statues were rooted in the Merit Tower and could not be moved. Each of the rain lion stone statues emitted the aura force of the first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. The 2 rain lion stone statues could not move. However, if anyone tries to steal the treasures in the Merit Hall, they would immediately launch an attack comparable to a Void Fragmentation Realm expert to kill the intruder. With the turtle demon and the 2 rain lion stone statues guarding the place and many restrictive spells densely covering it, the defense of the Merit Tower could not be said to be weak. Ning Fan's eyes moved. He only glanced at the tortoise and lion stone statues without saying anything. He also did not have the intention to steal the treasures. He was not arrogant enough to steal things under the Rain Sovereign's nose. He believed that the Rain Sovereign who was overly suspicious must be secretly watching him at this moment. The Rain Sovereign has given an order. If Marquis White Robe wants to enter the Merit Tower, there is no limit to the number of floors. May I know which floor Marquis White Robe wants to enter? Han Song-zi asked respectfully. Which floor is the Divine E Stone on? Ning Fan suddenly asked. The 1st floor. With Marquis White Robe's cultivation base, don't tell me he still needs to exchange for the Divine E Stone? Han Song-zi asked in surprise. To nascent Soul Realm and Divine Transformation Realm cultivators, the Divine E Stone was a supreme treasure. It could help them comprehend and improve their divine intent. However, to Void Refinement Realm cultivators, the effect of the Divine E Stone in improving their divine intent was greatly reduced. Usually, very few Void Refinement Realm cultivators would come to the ruling Sky City to exchange for the Divine E-Stone. That was why he felt very strange. Why did Ning Fan ask about the Divine E-Stone that was not worth mentioning first instead of asking about the many treasures in the Merit Hall? I naturally have my own use for this item. Fellow Taoist, please lead the way. I want to exchange all of the Divine E-Stones in this Merit Tower. Seeing that Ning Fan did not want to talk much, Han Song-zi was sensible and naturally did not ask any more questions. He led Ning Fan to the first floor of the Merit Tower. The pills, cultivation methods, magic treasures and spiritual items on this floor were enough to make Void Glimpse stage-old monsters feel tempted. However, Ning Fan did not linger around most of the items. He just exchanged all the Divine E-Stones and went to the second floor. Exchanging for a Divine E-Stone required 5 million merit points. The price was the same as the nascent Soul Realm Dao fruit. There were a total of 1,000 plus Divine E-Stones in the Merit Tower. Ning Fan had spent 5 billion merit points to exchange for all of them. These Divine E-Stones were already the entire inventory of the Rain Palace. Ning Fan pondered inwardly. I wonder if absorbing the power of these Divine E-Stones will allow my 5th grade Rain intent to break through to the 4th grade. There was still a long way to go before it could attain the 1st grade Rain intent. If I go to the tree world, I must pay attention to find a way to increase my Rain intent. All the treasures on the second floor of the Merit Tower were prepared for Void Inquiry stage cultivators. Ning Fan's current cultivation base was coincidentally at the Void Inquiry stage. Thus, there were quite a number of items that could be of use to him in this floor. Ning Fan had exchanged quite a lot of pill recipes, pills and 50,000 years old spiritual herbs. After spending 2 billion merit points, his progress kept going upwards. On the third floor, Ning Fan spent 2.5 billion merit points to exchange for pill recipes, pills and spiritual herbs. On the fourth floor, Ning Fan spent 3.5 billion merit points. The fifth floor of the Merit Tower was a floor that only 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Masters and returning Origin Great Void Stage cultivators could enter. There were quite a number of good items on this floor. There were even more than 10 types of Origin returning magic arts. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the floor. Among these Origin returning magic arts, there were Divine Arts, Devil Arts, Demon Arts and even the Origin returning magic art left behind by the Rain Ancestor. Due to some lucky encounters, the Rain Ancestor possessed the power of the 3 races at the same time. His Origin returning magic art was very mysterious and all the cultivators of the 3 races could use it. After pondering for a while, Ning Fan exchanged the Origin returning magic art of the Rain Ancestor. At the same time, he also exchanged for a few other Origin returning magic arts, spending a total of 5 billion merit points. Very soon, Ning Fan spent 30 billion merit points, leaving only 12 billion left. Ning Fan did not spend his merit points recklessly anymore. He only exchanged for a few 6th Revolution pill recipes and began to search around the 5th floor. He still wanted to exchange for a high-grade 7th Revolution healing pill for the small sable to heal its injuries. He also wanted to exchange for a high-grade sword restriction to control the 5 sword spirits for his own use. However, the highest grade healing pill on the 5th floor was only at the peak grade 6th Revolution. As for the sword restriction of the highest grade, it was only enough to control the peak mortal void realm flying sword spirits. Let's go to the 6th floor. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he entered the 6th floor of the Merit Tower under Han Song-zi's lead. The 6th floor was not spacious. There were only 13 jade racks. There were also not many items on them. However, each of them could make a void fragmentation realm cultivator's eyes burn with desire. In this floor, there were not only a small number of 7th Revolution pills but also tens of tufts of 100,000 years old spiritual herbs that could be exchanged. A tuft of 100,000 years old spiritual herb cost 500 million merit points. It was extremely expensive. Ning Fan shook his head. He was not prepared to spend his remaining merit points on spiritual herbs that he would not be able to use. His eyes scanned across each of the jade racks and the 7th revolution pills. There were 7th revolution healing pills here. However, the highest grade healing pill was only a mid-grade 7th revolution healing pill which cost 10 billion merit points. In order for the small sable to recover his 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base, he would need at least a high-grade 7th revolution healing pill. This pill might not be able to fully heal the small sable's injuries. However, it should be able to slow down some of its injuries. Ning Fan let out a sigh. In the end, he still spent 10 billion merit points to exchange for this pill. With only 2 billion merit points left, Ning Fan skipped over the cultivation methods and secret techniques of the 6th floor and the 7th revolution pill recipe. Then, his eyes lit up. He found an ancient jade slip in a corner. The price of that jade slip was 1.5 billion merit points. It recorded a sword restriction that could control the sword spirits. This sword restriction was called Life and Death Restriction. It was said that it was created by Emperor Xia, one of the famous sword sovereigns of the sword world a million years ago. Emperor Xia was also considered as a peerless figure. Rumor has it that when he was alive, he was invincible in the sword world. When he was at his strongest, he even dared to carry his sword alone to the devil world, demon world, and heaven immortal world to challenge the cultivators of the various worlds. Unfortunately, when he was in the limelight, he suddenly died in a strange way, making countless cultivators of the sword world sigh with regret. Emperor Xia was also considered as a peerless figure. The life and death restriction that he created was extremely powerful. He could even control the sword spirits of the immortal swords a little. Ning Fan pondered inwardly. If I plant the life and death restriction on the 5 sword spirits, it should be enough to subdue them. Now that both of his spiritual puppets had been destroyed, if he goes to the tree world and gets targeted by the void fragmentation realm experts there, he could only rely on Luoyu. The 5 sword spirits of the immortal swords possessed astonishing abilities. If he can subdue them, it would more or less be useful. If he encounters a sword cultivator at the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, he would only need to rely on the 5 sword spirits and he would be able to defeat them easily. His eyes flashed with determination. Since he did not have much merit points left after using the life and death restriction, he did not stay any longer and left the Virtue Tower with Han Songzi. After that, Ning Fan went to bid farewell to the Pill Sovereign, Yun Bushu, Yu Chong, and the others. Then, he quietly left Heavenly Cloud Country when he was in the limelight. 1 month later, Ning Fan returned to 7 Apricot City. He told the ladies about his intention to temporarily leave. Coincidentally, Feng Shuyan's fake Mo Luo blood was acting up. Thus, he used the power of the ancestral talisman to help her completely refine the blood. As she refined the fake Mo Luo blood, Feng Shuyan's physique began to improve. Gradually, she no longer stuttered and her cultivation base was also improving at a terrifying rate day after day. Ning Fan left behind a lot of pills for the ladies. He also left behind some mid-grade 7th revolution medicine for little Martin. Then, he went to a barren mountain 1,000 li away from 7 Apricot City to meet the Ming Luo tree spirit who lived in seclusion. I'm going to the tree world. I'm afraid I won't be able to return for some time. I'll have to trouble Senior to protect you country when I'm not around. You want to go to the tree world? The Ming Luo tree spirit's face instantly revealed an ancient expression. I will take good care of you country for you. Even if that rain sovereign comes here personally, he definitely won't be able to harm a single plant in you country. You don't have to worry. However, since you're going to the tree world, I have a presumptuous request. I hope you can agree to it. Junior can't thank Senior enough for protecting you country for me. Since Senior has a request, I will certainly do my best to help you. May I know what Senior wants me to help with? Countless years ago, I was once the tree sovereign of the Ming Luo tree clan in the tree world. Later on, I was trapped in the dark sparrow grave of the rain world and the Ming Luo tree clan declined ever since. Currently, the Ming Luo tree clan doesn't exist among the 3 sovereign forces of the tree world. Sigh, If you go to the tree world, can you help me check if the Ming Luo tree clan still exists or if it has been destroyed by someone many years ago? If the Ming Luo tree clan still exists by luck, please help me take care of my clan. My main body is trapped in the Dark Sparrow grave and my clone can't leave you country either. I'm afraid I won't be able to return to my hometown in the tree world for the rest of my life. Can you agree to this request of mine? If you agree, you can take this token with you. The Ming Luo tree spirit let out a long sigh and took out a black wooden token from his storage pouch. Half a month later, in a hidden sea of trees in the cloud cliff country of the tree world, a door of rain and mist suddenly emerged. A white-robed young man slowly walked out of the jade door. Behind him were 5 little girls who were as agile as elves. Each of them was only the size of a thumb. Is this the tree world? The young man muttered to himself and suddenly raised his head. Not far away, the sound of an intense battle could be vaguely heard. Chapter 560. Without a doubt, this white-robed young man who had secretly descended to the tree world was none other than Ning Fan. Among the 9 realms, the tree realm belonged to the lower 3 realms, but it was much stronger than the rain realm. In the tree world, there were more than 2,000 cultivation countries. Each of them was governed by the 3 sovereigns of the tree world. Lu Haoyue, who Ning Fan had met once before, was none other than the Snow Willow Devil Sovereign. The tree world was huge, almost twice the size of the rain world. At this moment, Ning Fan had just descended with the help of the jade slip from the rain gate. He was now standing in an area with a sea of trees. His surroundings were filled with endless ancient trees that towered into the sky. However, he had no idea where he was in the tree world. 5 tiny sword spirits were circling around Ning Fan. All of them had been implanted with the sword seal of life and death. They had already been subdued by Ning Fan. Although the 5 little girls were not willing to be subdued by Ning Fan, they did not dare to disobey the sword restriction. They could only serve Ning Fan as their master in frustration. The first sword spirit was named Jingjing, dressed in a golden robe. The second sword spirit was named Momo, and she wore a green robe. The third sword spirit's name was Shui, and she wore a blue robe. The fourth sword spirit was named Flower, and she was dressed in red. The fifth sword spirit was called Tong. She was a little stutterer and wore a yellow shirt. Humph, big sister will not surrender sincerely. This is just a fake surrender. Don't be too proud. Jingjing said fiercely. Humph, if you dare to lock second sister in the sword pouch again, second sister will teach you a lesson. Momo said fiercely. Humph, if you want to learn third sister's sword technique, give me 100 trillion immortal jades first. Shui said fiercely. Humph, there seems to be fighting sounds in the west, but fourth sister won't fight for you. Hua said fiercely. Humph. Little stutterer Tong glared at him fiercely, unable to form a complete sentence. The 5 little girls had a fierce expression on their faces, but Ning Fan acted as if he didn't see it. He raised his head slightly and looked to the west across the sea of trees. He had just landed in the tree world when he heard the sounds of fighting. He spread out his divine sense slightly and immediately sensed that there was a group of cultivators fighting to the death in a tree valley 400 kilometers to the west. I can get some information from these cultivators. Ning Fan waved his sleeve. Ignoring the resistance of the 5 sword spirits, he kept them into the sword pouch on his waist. It was a cloth bag embroidered with silver sword patterns. It was hung next to the storage bag and was specifically used to store flying swords. Many sword cultivators loved to carry a sword pouch with them. Ning Fan used a sword pouch to store the 5 sword spirits. After keeping the 5 little girls back into the sword pouch, Ning Fan's figure flashed. He directly leaped across a great distance and silently appeared in the tree valley that was 400 li away. This was an extremely secluded tree valley located in the depths of the sea of trees, rarely visited by people. However, today, there were more than 10 bandits surrounding 3 lone cultivators, and they were engaged in a shady business of killing and seizing treasures. These bandits were at least at the harmonious spirit realm, and the strongest among them was an early gold core cultivator. Although the outfits of these bandits were all different, they all had a silver flower pattern on their clothes, which seemed to be the emblem of a certain bandit cultivation force. The cultivators who were besieged were an early harmonious spirit girl and 2 peak harmonious spirit old men. The girl was wearing a yellow robe, with a faint demonic power of a tree monster around her body. Being besieged by bandits, her breathing was disordered and her face was tense. The 2 peak harmonious spirit old men stood in front of the girl to protect her. They seemed to be the girl's elders. They were obviously seriously injured, but they still protected the girl to prevent her from being harmed by the bandits. The 2 peak harmonious spirit old men risked their lives like ferocious tigers on the verge of death. Their remaining power caused the bandits' expressions to change slightly, and they didn't dare to approach them rashly. However, under the siege of the bandits, the 2 old men's injuries became more and more serious. The gold core bandit squinted his eyes. He wasn't in a hurry to kill the 2 old men. He just smiled coldly and ordered the bandits beside him. This girl is the cauldron that the young lord has taken a fancy to. Don't harm her life. Capture her and bring her back to the young lord. As for these 2 old men, don't delay any longer. Just kill them. In this Earth Abyss kingdom, the young lord's orders are absolute. All sects and clans are like ants to him. Yes. Under the Gold Core Bandits' order, more than 10 harmonious spirit bandits immediately showed their trump cards. One after another, they attacked the 2 old men with their magical treasures. They avoided the girl and didn't attack her. Under the fierce attack of the magical treasures, one of the old men was cut into 2 by a spirit realm flying sword in a flash. The other old man was hit in the chest by a bronze hammer. He flew backward like a kite with a broken string. He vomited blood and fell to the ground. He was barely breathing and wasn't far from death. Uncle Sue. Uncle Chin. The girl revealed a sorrowful expression. Her knees went soft and she fell to the ground. Looking at the bandits who were approaching her step by step, the girl revealed a look of despair. Her clan was only a harmonious spirit force, but the bandit cultivators in front of her all had powerful backgrounds. She wasn't a match for these bandits, and she didn't dare to resist. It should be said that no one in the Earth Abyss Kingdom dared to resist these bandits. She was going to be captured by these bandits and brought to their young lord as a cauldron. She wasn't willing. She wasn't willing. But in this cultivation world where only the strong were respected, what could she do even if she was unwilling? Just as the girl was in despair, the space in the tree valley suddenly rippled slightly. A white-robed young man suddenly appeared in the tree valley. No one could see how he arrived. When the harmonious spirit bandits saw the sudden appearance of this white-robed young man, they attacked him without hesitation. Kill all the passers-by. The Gold Core bandit ordered indifferently. They couldn't see through the white-robed young man's cultivation. Even the Gold Core cultivators couldn't sense a trace of his chi. No one asked why this young man appeared here. Why would these bandits ask for a reason to kill someone? The white-robed young man's expression was cold. He didn't even look at those spirit-level magical treasures that were attacking him. The girl looked at the young man's back with a numb expression and sighed bitterly. She thought that she was innocent of provoking the young lord of these bandits and being captured as a cauldron. Now, it seemed that this white-robed young man who suddenly appeared was even more innocent. He was going to be killed by these bandits without any reason. How pitiful, the girl couldn't see through the young man's cultivation. Seeing that the young man was surrounded by more than 10 harmonious spirit cultivators, she naturally believed that the young man would die for sure. Even a peak harmonious spirit cultivator will die if he is besieged by these bandits. As soon as the girl's voice faded, her eyes suddenly widened in disbelief. Those powerful magical treasures turned into countless flowing lights and attacked the white-robed young man. However, they suddenly couldn't move forward even half an inch. The space around the white-robed young man seemed to have frozen. All the magical treasures were forcefully stopped in mid-air. In the next moment, without any warning, all the magic treasures turned into ashes and were annihilated. During the whole process, the white-robed young man didn't even lift his hand. He had already broken through the siege of all the harmonious spirit cultivators. Who are you? We are from the Soaring Flower Valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom. The early gold core bandit saw the young man's strength and thought that this white-robed young man was actually a nascent soul cultivator. For a moment, he naturally didn't dare to attack the young man again. However, he wasn't afraid of the young man. He arrogantly announced the power behind him, hoping to intimidate the young man. However, the young man's eyes were like a bottomless abyss. There wasn't a single ripple in them. He wasn't frightened by the name of the Soaring Flower Valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom at all. He didn't even give the gold core bandit time to finish his words. He only slightly released his magical power and the space shook. What kind of vast magical power was that? In front of such magical power, even a gold core or nascent soul cultivator was just a speck of dust. In just an instant, all the bandits were smashed into minced meat and died a violent death. How is this possible? The young lady and the dying old man stood rooted to the ground in shock. They couldn't believe what they had just seen. They couldn't imagine what cultivation realm this white-robed young man was at. He could kill a gold core realm cultivator just by releasing his magical power. Neither gold core realm nor nascent soul realm cultivators could do it. Could it be that this white-robed young man is actually a divine transformation realm old monster? Just as the young lady and the injured old man were thinking about it, the white-robed young man flicked his sleeve and captured the gold core realm cultivator's soul in his hand. Then, he searched his soul and memory. After that, his figure flashed and disappeared without a trace without looking at the young lady and the others. Thank you for saving my life, Senior. The young lady sincerely knelt in the direction where the young man left. She kowtowed a few times before getting up to take care of the injured old man. Of course, she didn't know that the white-robed young man had a cold personality. He didn't do it to save her but just to ask for directions. The Earth Abyss Kingdom, huh? Ning Fan appeared on the top of a giant tree with a sway of his body. He wore a thoughtful look on his face. Among the 2,000 cultivation countries in the tree world, the Earth Abyss Kingdom was a void-grade cultivation country. It was located in the northern tree sea of the tree world. The tree world was divided into the north, south, east and west tree seas. In the North Tree Sea, the Earth Abyss Kingdom could be considered as a famous country. The group of bandits that he killed belonged to the Soaring Flower Valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom. The Soaring Flower Valley was a bandit force. It was said that they had a Void Refinement Realm cultivator as their leader. Within the Earth Abyss Kingdom, there were very few people who dared to offend the people of the Soaring Flower Valley. Ning Fan was naturally not afraid of the Soaring Flower Valley. A lowly bandit force like this could not make him feel any fear at all. From the Gold Core Realm bandits' memories, Ning Fan learned that his destination, the Fire Tree Clan, was located in the West Tree Sea. It was extremely far away from the Earth Abyss Kingdom. He would need to travel across half of the tree world to get there. The tree world was huge. If Ning Fan wants to go to the Fire Tree Clan, he would first need to find a complete map of the tree world. He pondered for a moment. After a while, he displayed his void teleportation technique. With a single step, he flew towards the largest cultivation city in the Earth Abyss Kingdom. The largest trading city of the Earth Abyss Kingdom, the Vast Cold City. In the Gold Core Realm bandits' memory, the Vast Cold City was the largest cultivation city in the Earth Abyss Kingdom. The city was 10,000 zhang tall and the area was 10,000 li wide. There were countless cultivation shops in the city. Countless cultivators of the Earth Abyss Kingdom would come to this city to purchase items. It was said that there was nothing that could not be bought in the Earth Abyss Kingdom. Tens of thousands of years ago, a void fragmentation realm Dao fruit was once sold in the Earth Abyss City. It had shocked the entire tree world. Naturally, Good items like the Void Fragmentation Realm Dao fruit were not something that one could come across every year. They could only be found by luck but not by searching for them. Ning Fan retracted his traveling light and landed outside the northern gate of the vast cold city. He paid some immortal jade and directly entered the city. The reason why he entered the city was to purchase a map. He did not look nervous at all. He did not feel any pressure sneaking into the tree world. His gaze swept across the city. Most of the cultivators in the city were tree demons, but there were also tree devils. At the same time, there were also many human cultivators who cultivated wood elemental cultivation methods. Water cultivators were the most common in the rain world, while wood cultivators were the most common in the tree world. In the tree world, there were profound cultivators, demon cultivators, and devil cultivators. Moreover, it was not like the rain world where profound cultivators were respected and devil cultivators were regarded as a disgrace. There was no need for Ning Fan to deliberately conceal his identity when he was traveling in the tree world. Not long after Ning Fan entered the city, he suddenly frowned and halted his footsteps after walking on a bluestone street. He saw a middle-aged scholar following him from afar. Ever since Ning Fan entered the city, he had been following him. What's the matter? Ning Fan turned around and stared at the middle-aged scholar coldly without any extra expression. After he entered the city, the chi that he gave off was at the early nascent soul realm, while this middle-aged scholar was just a mid-gold core realm cultivator. Since this middle-aged scholar was following him, he probably did not have any ill intentions. When the middle-aged scholar realized that he was discovered by Ning Fan, he nervously approached him. Then, he gave Ning Fan a simple and honest smile. "Senior, please don't misunderstand me. I don't have any ill intentions following you. I just have something to ask you. It must be Senior's first time coming to the vast cold city, so what if I am? Since Senior has come to the vast cold city, I'm sure that you are here to purchase something. Even though my cultivation base is low, I know the 100,000 shops in the city like the back of my hand. As long as Senior pays me 500 immortal jade, I'm willing to lead the way for Senior to any shop that you want to visit within today." As soon as the middle-aged scholar finished speaking, he became a little nervous. He did not know if Ning Fan was willing to pay 500 immortal jade to hire him as a guide. The vast cold city was extremely large. There were more than 100,000 shops in the city. If an ordinary cultivator were to visit every shop, he or she would not know how long it would take. Therefore, there would often be gold core realm rogue cultivators leading the way for others in exchange for payment. The lifetime savings of a gold core realm cultivator was about 100,000 immortal jade. The middle-aged scholar could earn 500 immortal jade a day by leading the way. In a year, he could earn more than 100,000 immortal jade. To nascent soul realm old monsters, 500 immortal jade was insignificant. To some gold core realm cultivators who were eager to shop, 500 immortal jade was just a small amount of money. To Ning Fan, 500 immortal jade was just like a fleeting cloud. He could save a lot of time by just spending 500 immortal jade. Of course, Ning Fan was very willing to do so. He patted his storage pouch and took out 500 immortal jade, tossing them to the middle-aged scholar. The middle-aged scholar kept the immortal jade and gradually calmed down. His attitude towards Ning Fan became even more respectful. "May I know what Senior wants to purchase in the vast cold city?" "A map." "A map, huh? If Senior only wants a map of the Earth Abyss Kingdom, you can purchase it with just a few thousand immortal jade. The Flowing Mist Pavilion at the north of the city sells it. If Senior needs a map of the Earth Abyss Kingdom and the 10 countries around it, you will need to spend at least several tens of thousands of immortal jade. You have to go to the Qin Pavilion to purchase it. If Senior needs a map of the other countries in the northern Forest Sea, they can only be sold at the Han Pavilion at the south of the city. May I know what kind of map Senior wants to purchase?" The middle-aged scholar explained tirelessly. He seemed to be well versed in this business. "I want a complete map of the tree world," Ning Fan said indifferently. The middle-aged scholar was shocked when he heard Ning Fan's words. Then, he looked at Ning Fan with a strange expression. Senior wants a complete map of the tree world? Could it be that he was joking with the younger generation? Everyone knows that you can't buy a complete map of the tree world. Why? Could it be that there isn't a complete map of the tree world in the vast cold city? Ning Fan frowned. The middle-aged scholar's heart immediately turned cold. The moment his eyes met Ning Fan's, the middle-aged scholar felt his heart palpitate. He could not withstand Ning Fan's devil might at all. At first, he thought that Ning Fan was just an early nascent soul realm old monster. Now, it seemed like Ning Fan might still be concealing his cultivation base. Could he be at the mid or late nascent soul realm? The middle-aged scholar's cultivation base was not high, but his eyesight was not weak. After sensing Ning Fan's terrifying devil might, how would he dare to offend Ning Fan? Instead, he became even more respectful. The tree world was divided into 4 great forest seas, and each of them was ruled by the 3 great tree sovereigns. Each forest sea was heavily guarded, and there was no complete map of the tree world that was leaked to the outside world. This was common knowledge among the cultivators of the tree world. The middle-aged scholar did not understand why Ning Fan did not know about this common knowledge. However, after sensing Ning Fan's terrifying devil might, he did not dare to speak recklessly anymore. He thought to himself that Ning Fan was probably a cultivator from a clan who had never left the clan and rarely came into contact with the common knowledge of the outside world. With that thought in mind, the middle-aged scholar could not help but explain patiently. Senior, you should know that the 3 sovereigns of the tree world each occupy the east, west, and south of the 3 great forest seas. They are not connected to each other. The maps of the 3 great forest seas are rarely leaked to the northern forest sea for sale. The map of the northern forest sea, which covers the largest area in my vast cold city, is also the map. Besides, this map is only sold in the Limitless Pavilion. It has always been sold to old monsters who are at the peak nascent soul realm and above. The map of the northern forest sea is extremely expensive. A copy of it usually costs 1 million immortal jade. Normally, only divine transformation realm old monsters and some powerful great cultivators can afford it. As soon as the middle-aged scholar finished speaking, he secretly studied Ning Fan. In his memory, there were also some nascent soul realm old monsters who wanted to buy the map of the northern forest sea. However, they would usually give up after hearing that the map cost 1 million immortal jade. However, Ning Fan was different. His expression did not change at all when he heard that the map cost 1 million immortal jade, as if it was insignificant to him. This person is definitely not an ordinary nascent soul realm old monster. Perhaps, this person's true identity is a peak nascent soul realm great cultivator. The moment the middle-aged scholar thought about it, he became even more astonished. After listening to the middle-aged scholar's introduction, Ning Fan fell into silence and began to ponder. Initially, he wanted to buy the map of the entire tree world in vast cold city. Only now did he realize that it was impossible for him to buy it. The tree world was divided into 4 great forest seas. Each of the 3 sovereigns occupied a forest sea as their territory. They did not allow outsiders to spy on their territories and strictly limited the sale of the map. Only the northern forest sea did not have a tree sovereign. Therefore, it was not difficult to buy the map of the northern forest sea. Forget it. I'll buy the map of the northern forest sea first. Lead the way to the everlasting pavilion. Ning Fan made up his mind with just a glance. The middle-aged scholar was shocked once again. He could not imagine that Ning Fan would really spend 1 million immortal jade to buy the map of the northern forest sea. In the middle-aged scholar's long life, buying the map of the northern forest sea was definitely the biggest deal he had ever made. This junior will follow senior's order. I'll bring senior to the everlasting pavilion now. In the soaring flower valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom. In a large hall in the depths of the valley, a black-robed young man stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His eyes were filled with anger as he stared at the dismembered corpses of the bandit cultivators. There is actually someone in the Earth Abyss Kingdom who dares to offend my soaring flower valley. He is simply courting death. This young lord wants to see which audacious person dares to kill my young lord Soaring Flower's subordinates. The black-robed young man patted his storage pouch and took out a small silver mirror. It was actually a mid-grade mortal void treasure. Even though it was just a mid-grade mortal void treasure, it was very extraordinary. The mirror actually contained a trace of chi left behind by a void fragmentation realm expert. The black-robed young man waved the small mirror and shone it at the dismembered corpses. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's figure was reflected in the mirror. He is in the vast cold city of the Earth Abyss Kingdom. This person could kill Gold Core Realm cultivators with just his chi. His cultivation base is at least at the early Divine Transformation Realm. I have heard of cultivators who are at the mid-Divine Transformation Realm and above in the Northern Forest Sea, but I have never heard of this person before. Is this person just an early Divine Transformation Realm ant? Humph. The vast cold city is not far away. I will personally take action and kill this Divine Transformation Realm ant. The lord of the city is just a void glimpse stage cultivator. Coincidentally, I also have some old scores to settle with him. The black-robed young man took a step forward. In a flash of void inquiry stage light, he flew towards the vast cold city. He was actually a void inquiry stage cultivator. In a void-grade cultivation country like the Earth Abyss Kingdom, he was definitely a devil lord who ran amok. Whoever provokes him would die. Chapter 561. The everlasting pavilion in the east of the Moon City was thousands of miles away from the north of the city. With the middle-aged scholar's golden core speed, it would take him a day to arrive. Fortunately, Ning Fan was traveling with them. Naturally, he would not spend a single day on comprehending them. Ning Fan just flicked his sleeve gently. A vast amount of magic power engulfed the middle-aged scholar. Both of them instantly traveled across 10,000 li and appeared outside the everlasting pavilion. Divine Transformation Realm Old Monster. The middle-aged scholar was nearly frightened to death by Ning Fan's speed. As far as he knew, those who could travel 10,000 miles in one go were at least deity transformation cultivators. Only a spirit-severing old monster's teleportation technique could allow him to travel 10,000 miles in one go. Initially, he guessed that Ning Fan was a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. From the looks of it, Ning Fan was at least an early divine transformation realm old monster. This person is actually a deity transformation stage old monster. I can't believe I can lead the way for a deity transformation stage old monster. The middle-aged scholar was shocked, but his eyes were burning. He bowed respectfully to Ning Fan and pointed at a 10,000 zhang treasure pavilion in front of him. Senior, please take a look. This is the Limitless Pavilion. Only the Everlasting Pavilion could sell the map of the North Tree Sea. The master of the Everlasting Pavilion was the City Lord of Moon City. He was an early void refinement realm old monster. In order to enter the Everlasting Pavilion to shop, you need to be at least a grand cultivator. This junior is unable to enter. Since you can't enter the pavilion, you should leave. I can enter alone. Ning Fan dismissed the middle-aged scholar and walked towards the Everlasting Pavilion alone. There were no cultivators guarding the Everlasting Pavilion. There were only two wooden beast statues squatting outside the door. The wooden sculpture was vivid and lifelike, and its pair of beast eyes were extremely intelligent. When Ning Fan approached the Limitless Pavilion, the two wooden beasts suddenly emitted a faint light. They stood up on all fours and stared at Ning Fan coldly. Each of the wood beasts was emitting the aura of a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. These two wooden beasts were clearly two puppet beasts. Halt your steps. Cultivators below the pinnacle of Yuanfeng are not allowed to enter the Wuji Pavilion. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the two beasts and he was slightly surprised. No wonder there was no one guarding the Wuji Pavilion. It turned out that there were two peak Yuan puppets guarding it. The craftsmanship of these two puppets was rather special. Unlike the Rain Immortal puppets and Northern Sky puppets, they were actually completely made of wood. The material of the second puppet was nothing special. However, there was a profound talisman formation carved on the surface of the puppet. Even with Ning Fan's level of attainment in the Tao of formations, he could only see some of the complexity of the talisman formation. Ning Fan's eyes and his eyes turned cold. The grade of these two puppets might not be high, but the one who made them was definitely an extremely powerful puppeteer. In the face of the two beasts' cold gazes, Ning Fan naturally did not say much. He only released a bit of his chi, which was roughly at the peak nascent soul realm. After sensing Ning Fan's peak nascent soul realm chi, the coldness in the two beasts' eyes immediately dissipated. They crouched down again and said to Ning Fan proudly, "Your cultivation base is strong enough. You can enter now." Ordinary puppets' realm puppets had sieve of them of their eyes. Ning Fan was very sure that these two puppet beasts were not puppets with spiritual intelligence, but they were able to show such a proud expression. Could it be that the puppet master's skills were extraordinary? They were the pavilion fan who fan long dragon. Pavilion, of the fan, pavilion of miles of pavilion, miles of jade, miles of the first level. Each of the jade shelves was equipped with layers of formation light. There were also puppet beasts guarding the shelves. Many peak nascent realm cultivators were choosing their items on the first level. The ones who welcomed them were human-shaped puppets. At the moment when Ning Fan stepped into the everlasting pavilion, a smiling female puppet walked towards him with light and graceful steps. This puppet was a sentient puppet with a half-step deity transformation cultivation base. Its eyes were as clear as a spring, and it was even more intelligent than a living person. "Fellow Taoist, what do you want to purchase from my pavilion?" "I am Lu Rua, the shopkeeper of the first level of the pavilion." "Map." Ning Fan answered indifferently. "Oh. What kind of map do you want to buy?" "There are maps of Earth Abyss Country, Hanhai Country, and Wuyu Country on this shelf." The lady pointed at a jade shelf at the side. The shelf was filled with countless jade slips. Each of them was imprinted with map information. Beside each jade slip was a standard map of the area and the price of the jade slip. "I want a map of the entire North Tree Sea." Ning Fan's indifferent voice resounded on the first level. Then, he took out a storage pouch and handed it to the female puppet. The pouch contained 1,000,000 immortal jades. Even though his voice was not loud, all the peak nascent realm old monsters on the first level could naturally hear him. Many of them looked at Ning Fan and the storage pouch that contained 1,000,000 immortal jades. Their eyes were filled with shock and passion. Even peak nascent realm old monsters were not willing to spend 1,000,000 immortal jades to buy a map. There were also some who came to the pavilion to buy a map of the North Tree Sea. However, when they heard the price, they gave up on the idea. A few peak nascent realm old monsters studied Ning Fan from top to bottom. They felt that he was a little unfamiliar and started guessing his background and origin. There were also a few ferocious-looking old monsters who were secretly paying attention to Ning Fan. When they saw Ning Fan spending lavishly, they vaguely regarded him as a fat sheep. No one knew what kind of evil intentions they had. Ning Fan did not even look at those malicious old monsters. To him, a mere peak nascent realm cultivator was nothing to be afraid of. The female puppet took the storage pouch and scanned it with her spirit sense. Then, she gave Ning Fan a meaningful smile. "Fellow Taoist, may I know why you want to buy a map of the North Tree Sea?" Ning Fan did not answer her question. Instead, he slowly walked to the jade rack at the side and reached out his hand to grab a jade slip on it. That jade slip was the map of the North Tree Sea. The formation light on the jade rack was a mid-grade divine transformation realm formation light. Even a divine transformation realm cultivator would not dare to touch the item on the rack. As soon as she saw Ning Fan taking the jade slip, the female puppet was slightly surprised. Just as she was about to stop him, an old voice suddenly resounded beside her ears. "There's no need to stop him. This young man has hidden his strength well. He won't be hurt by a mere divine transformation realm formation light." Just like what the mysterious old man said, Ning Fan directly passed through the formation light and took the jade slip. Then, he turned around and left without being heard at all. However, before he left, he suddenly raised his head and looked at the upper floor of the everlasting pavilion with a meaningful gaze. On the first floor of the everlasting pavilion, all the peak nascent realm old monsters were stunned. No matter how stupid they were, they could tell how strong Ning Fan was. Since even the divine transformation realm formation light could not hurt him, it was impossible for him to be a nascent soul realm cultivator. It was highly possible that he was a divine transformation realm old monster. Some of the nascent soul realm cultivators who harbored malicious intentions earlier revealed a look of fear when they thought that Ning Fan might be a divine transformation realm old monster. None of them dared to have any evil thoughts towards Ning Fan anymore. On the top floor of the everlasting pavilion, an old man in brown robes was stunned for a moment. Then, his eyes revealed a look of contemplation. What exactly is this young man's cultivation base? He should have already advanced to the void refinement realm. However, I'm not sure if he is a void glimpse stage cultivator or a void inquiry stage cultivator. Perhaps, his cultivation base is even higher. There's an extremely strong puppet chi on this young man's body. However, this puppet seems to be damaged. It's a pity, there's a trace of ancient chi on this puppet. It should be carved with ancient runes. I wonder if this young man's puppet fragments are for sale. The brown-robed old man's mind raced. All of a sudden, he made a decision and transmitted his voice to the female puppet on the first floor. Then, the female puppet hurriedly chased after Ning Fan before he left and urged him to stay. Fellow Taoist, please wait. My master invites you to the top floor of the everlasting pavilion for a chat. Your master. Ning Fan's eyes were calm without any emotion. The master of the everlasting pavilion was just a void glimpse stage cultivator. This kind of cultivation base was not enough to pose any threat to Ning Fan. Thus, Ning Fan naturally did not have any concerns. After pondering for a moment, Ning Fan said to the female puppet, "Lead the way." He really wanted to see why the master of the everlasting pavilion was looking for him. Ning Fan followed the female puppet to the top floor of the everlasting pavilion. Along the way, the cultivators they met were all shocked when they saw Ning Fan ascending the stairs. From the second floor onwards, the cultivators who came to shop were at least divine transformation realm old monsters. In the eyes of these divine transformation realm old monsters, Ning Fan was just a nascent soul realm cultivator. It was hard for them to imagine why a peak nascent soul realm cultivator was qualified to ascend to the second floor and even climb to a higher floor. Who is this man? Could it be that he's heading to the top floor? The top floor. That's the place where the master of the everlasting pavilion receives void refinement realm cultivators. Could it be that this nascent soul realm cultivator is actually a void refinement realm old monster? Hiss. This man doesn't look impressive, but he's actually a void refinement realm old monster. An expert of this level is a formidable character who dominates a region in the entire North Tree Sea. We must never offend this person. Ning Fan walked all the way to the top floor. The female puppet excused herself and Ning Fan pushed the door open and entered alone. On the top floor was a pavilion with simple decorations. An elderly man in brown robes was sitting on a rattan chair and drinking tea alone. Behind him stood 8 wooden puppets. Each of them had a half-step void refinement realm cultivation base. Seeing Ning Fan's arrival, the elderly man immediately revealed a smile and poured a cup of tea for Ning Fan. Then, he said politely, "Fellow Taoist, please have a seat. This is the supreme grade spiritual tea that I bought from the Bamboo Lake country, Bamboo Lake Cloud Mist Tea. It was brewed with 100-year cold spring water and boiled with a 6th grade void flame. Fellow Taoist, how does it taste?" Ning Fan's gaze swept across the wooden puppets and fell into deep thought. Then, he shifted his gaze away and sat on the rattan chair on the other side. Then, he picked up the cup of spiritual tea and took a sip. The spiritual chi of this tea was overwhelming. The tea leaves were like miniature bamboo leaves. When the tea entered his mouth, it melted like mist and carried the fragrance of green bamboo. Good tea. Ning Fan put down the mutton fat jade teacup and looked at the elderly man in brown robes meaningfully. The elderly man was also carefully studying Ning Fan. At the same time, he spread out his spirit sense, trying to sense Ning Fan's specific cultivation base. However, as soon as his spirit sense came into contact with Ning Fan's body, it immediately disappeared without a trace, like a clay ox falling into the sea. He could not see through Ning Fan's cultivation base at all. The elderly man's eyes widened. He was a void glimpse stage cultivator after all. His spirit sense was not weak among void glimpse stage cultivators. However, he could not find out anything about Ning Fan's cultivation base. This young man's chi is very reserved. He is definitely not a void glimpse stage cultivator. We mustn't offend him. The elderly man was a little fearful of Ning Fan. At the same time, he became interested in the puppet chi that Ning Fan was giving off. He remained silent for a while. Ning Fan also smiled without saying a word. After a while, the elderly man withdrew his spirit sense and cupped his fists at Ning Fan. I am Guanghan Zi. I am the city lord of this Guanghan city and also the pavilion master of the everlasting pavilion. I have made a lot of acquaintances in the northern tree sea. However, fellow Taoist looks a little unfamiliar to me. May I know your name? Liu Bei. Ning Fan smiled and took a sip of his tea. This time, he snuck into the tree world secretly. It was not appropriate for him to expose his identity. With his reputation in the rain world, many people in the tree world might have heard of Marquis White Robe's name. Ning Fan, Zhou Ming. These two names were closely related to Marquis White Robe's identity. Thus, it was not appropriate to use them. If others find out that the dignified Marquis White Robe had snuck into the tree world, they might even suspect that he was plotting something against the tree world and cause some trouble. The management of the passage between the 9 worlds was extremely strict. Even if Moksha's sovereign sends someone to the rain world to kill someone, he would need to use a sovereign execution token. Moreover, he could only kill one person with one token. Ning Fan was not so conceited that he could expose his identity in the rain world and fight against the 3 sovereigns of the tree world alone. So it's fellow Taoist Liu. Forgive me for not recognizing you. Guanghan Zi was smiling, but inwardly, he felt strange. The name Liu Bei was very unfamiliar. He was definitely not a cultivator of the northern tree sea. He pondered inwardly. Could it be that this young man in front of him is a cultivator of the tree world who came from another sea of trees? Guanghan Zi collected his thoughts and continued to chat with Ning Fan for a while. Ning Fan also answered him fluently without any hesitation. As the two of them were chatting, time passed bit by bit. Guanghan Zi rubbed his forehead. He felt that it was time to get to the main topic. I sensed a trace of the chi of a puppet from fellow Taoist's body. That puppet is very strong. Extremely strong. There must be ancient runes engraved on it. Unfortunately, according to my senses, this puppet has already been destroyed. It's really a pity. I want to exchange some puppet fragments with fellow Taoist. I wonder if fellow Taoist is willing to accept my request. Puppet? Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. Inwardly, he became vigilant. Not even the Rain Sovereign could sense the void fragmentation realm puppets on his body. However, Guanghan Zi was able to sense them. He must have a special secret technique to sense puppets. Zhi Hua and Zi Dian were the puppets of the heavenly tribulation. Even if they are destroyed, they would still be of great value. If the fact that Ning Fan has the 2 puppets is leaked out, he would most likely get into some trouble. Could it be that this Guanghan Zi wants to get his puppet fragments by inviting him here for a chat? Then, Ning Fan's thoughts changed. This Guanghan Zi seems to be quite proficient in the art of puppets. I wonder if he can repair void fragmentation realm puppets. Seeing Ning Fan's vigilant expression, Guanghan Zi immediately waved his hands and said with an apologetic smile. Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand me. I definitely don't have any ulterior motives towards you. I just want to see the ancient runes on your puppet fragments. Just as Guang Hanzi's voice fell, a deafening bang suddenly resounded outside the everlasting pavilion. The entire city shook violently. That loud bang was deafening. It was the sound of the city's grand formation being broken by someone. Guang Hanzi's expression turned to one of shock. Immediately, his body swayed and he brought all of his puppets out of the everlasting pavilion. Ning Fan wore a thoughtful expression. Then, he also swayed his body and flew into the sky. A black-robed young man stood in midair with an extremely cold expression. His void inquiry stage aura force swept across the sky, causing countless low-grade cultivators in the city to tremble in fear. Whoever killed the people of my soaring flower valley, get out here. Chapter 562. The moment the black-clothed young man shattered the grand array of Moon City, the entire Moon City was in an uproar and exclamations were like a tide. This man is the young master of Soaring Flowers Valley, the Soaring Flowers Marquis, do you? What? This person was the Flying Flower young master who controlled the 1 million bandits in the Flying Flower Valley? Rumor has it that he is the only personal disciple of the Vine Sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. Even though his cultivation base is only at the Void Inquiry stage, no one dares to offend him when he roams the Northern Tree Sea. Even those Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters who live in seclusion do not dare to attack him easily. What? Du was actually the Vine Sovereign's only disciple. The Vine Sovereign. She is the Tree Sovereign who rules over the Western Tree Sea. Her terrifying cultivation base is at the 5th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Her strength alone is enough to suppress the entire Northern Tree Sea. With such a powerful master, who would dare to provoke Du? This Du destroyed the grand formation of the vast Frost City as soon as he arrived. I'm afraid he doesn't come with good intentions. Judging from Du's words, someone in the vast Frost City has killed the people of the Soaring Flower Valley. I wonder which cultivator is so audacious to kill Du's people. Now that Du has personally come to seek revenge, that person is probably dead for sure. I feel that Du has an ulterior motive for coming here. I heard that he had a feud with the Lord of Moon City for some reason. Perhaps he's here to cause trouble for Moon God Zi. Guang Hanzi and Ning Fan rose into the sky one after another. They were only 10,000 zhang away from Du. Du stood in the sky with his hands behind his back while his black robe fluttered in the wind. His face was emaciated, his gaze was gloomy, and his body emitted a trace of a fiery aura that wasn't weak. Guang Hanzi revealed a slightly panicked expression when he saw Du approaching menacingly, and he rubbed his hands together and smiled apologetically. He was just about to go forward and greet Du. In the Earth Abyss Kingdom, Du was too infamous. Moreover, it was said that Du was accepted as the personal disciple of the West Tree Sea Vine Sovereign. Guang Hanzi didn't dare to offend him. What brings Brother Du to my Moon City? Guang Hanzi was just about to exchange a few words with Du to calm Du's rage when he saw Du's cold gaze sweep over and snort coldly with disdain. Brother Du? Humph, who is your Brother Du? Get lost. Du's eyes darkened. Looking at Guang Hanzi and Ning Fan who appeared one after another, he suddenly took a step forward. All of a sudden, an aura force that was like a scorching sun pressed down on the two of them. In the sky, the shadow of a scarlet sun suddenly appeared. The scarlet sun shone brightly. The moment it appeared, the entire Moon City became like a steamer basket, and the scorching sun was like fire. With just a glance, Du could tell that Ning Fan who was with Guang Hanzi was the one who killed his subordinates. He mercilessly released his aura force. He was confident that he could injure Guang Hanzi and directly kill Ning Fan. This is... Ning Fan looked at the shadow of the scarlet sun. His eyes were slightly cold as if he had seen through something, but he was not afraid. Not good. When Guang Hanzi saw the scarlet sun's shadow, he was immediately shocked and quickly retreated. Guang Hanzi knew about it, and so did many cultivators of the North Tree Sea. The young lord of the soaring flower valley, Du, possessed an extremely powerful physique. When he faced his enemies, he could summon the shadow of the sun. Few void inquiry stage experts at the same level as him could match him. Upon seeing Du summon Yang Ying, Guang Hanzi became timid. He didn't dare to fight with Du at all and immediately retreated. Unfortunately, although Guang Hanzi wanted to retreat, he was still too slow. Du changed his hand seal. His aura force was as scorching as fire. It turned into a giant hand of the sun and went through Guang Hanzi's body. With Guang Hanzi's mere void glimpse stage cultivation base, he could not withstand the force of this claw at all. With just a single attack, Guang Hanzi's beard and hair were all burnt and his ribs were broken. He was forced to retreat tens of steps in the sky before he could stabilize himself. He coughed out blood continuously and his expression was filled with fear. Seeing this, Du sneered. Even though this Guang Hanzi is proficient in the Tao of puppets, his abilities are too weak. As expected, he is not worth mentioning. He doesn't even have the value to bully him. He glanced at Ning Fan, thinking that Ning Fan had probably been killed by the giant claw of the sun. In Du's impression, Ning Fan was at most an early divine transformation realm cultivator. It was impossible for him to withstand his attack. However, when he glanced at Ning Fan and saw that he was unscathed, Du's eyes were immediately filled with astonishment. That scorching aura force that was strong enough to injure Guang Hanzi had turned into a giant claw of the sun. Even though its abilities were astonishing, it could not hurt Ning Fan at all. Layers of aura force that was like waves of fire pressed down on Ning Fan. Ning Fan just stood in the sky calmly. His eyes were as calm as still water. Suddenly, he raised his hand and pressed it. All of a sudden, Du's aura force shattered like glass. The giant claw of the sun exploded into countless waves of fire with a loud bang. Du's attack could not hurt Ning Fan at all. Du stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. He could not believe that a mere divine transformation realm junior could borrow the power of his scorching sun attack. This young man is not at the divine transformation realm. He seemed to have understood something. He calmed himself down and scanned Ning Fan with his spirit sense, trying to find out his true strength. However, as soon as his spirit sense touched Ning Fan, it immediately disappeared like a clay ox falling into the sea. Ning Fan raised his hand again and pressed his palm against Du's spirit sense. All of a sudden, Du's spirit sense was completely shattered. He felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. He coughed out blood and was forced to retreat. He was inexplicably shocked. Void inquiry stage. Even though Du's spirit sense was shattered by Ning Fan, he could still tell that Ning Fan was a real void inquiry stage cultivator. His eyes turned grim. If he knew that Ning Fan's cultivation base was at the void inquiry stage, he would not have rashly come to the vast cold city alone to pick a fight with him. No matter what, he should have brought a few more people with him. So what if he's a void inquiry stage cultivator? Even if he's a void pierce stage or absolute void stage cultivator, Du would still dare to kill him as long as he is well prepared. He put away his shocked expression and said disdainfully while looking at Ning Fan with a cold smile. I didn't expect you to be a void inquiry stage cultivator. However, so what if you're a void inquiry stage cultivator? You've already angered me by daring to hurt the people of my soaring flower valley. You won't be able to escape death in the end. Even if you're at the void pierce stage, absolute void stage or origin returning stage, you still can't afford to offend me. Since your cultivation base isn't weak, I'll give you a chance. If you kneel down and admit your mistake, allow me to plant a mental seal on you and become my slave, I can spare your life. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving the Earth Abyss Kingdom alive. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm the personal disciple of the Vine Sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. In this Northern Tree Sea, there are void fragmentation realm cultivators secretly protecting me. You better not disobey my orders. I'll only give you 3 breaths of time to consider. Either you become my slave or die. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He had seen many cultivators in his life, but it was definitely his first time seeing someone as arrogant as Du. When he thought about it carefully, he understood why Du was so arrogant. Du had a master whose reputation shook the entire tree world. She was the vine sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. This was the first reason why he was so arrogant. Du's bone age was less than 5,000 years. However, his cultivation base was already at the void inquiry stage. His abilities were not weak and he also possessed an extremely unique physique. He commanded millions of bandits. This was the second reason why he was so arrogant. As for the final reason why Du was so arrogant and hot-tempered, it was also because of his physique. Du's physique was the Scarlet Yang physique, which was one of the 7 Yang physiques. Among the 7 Yang physiques, the Scarlet Yang physique was the most tyrannical one. This physique was naturally good at cultivating dual cultivation techniques of the devil path. However, the woman he plucked would definitely die. This physique had a drawback. Even though the possessor of this physique was good at displaying flaming yang abilities, their temperament would become more and more hot-tempered, crazy and extreme as their yang power increased. It was impossible for Ning Fan to kowtow and apologize to Du, let alone become his slave. On the contrary, Ning Fan would even kill Du because of his physique. Du had the 7 Yang physique. He was the possessor of the Yang physique that Ning Fan was looking for. Since he came to Ning Fan's doorstep to seek his own death, Ning Fan naturally would not let him go. Even though Du had a powerful background and he had the tree sovereign of the Western Tree Sea as his master, this background was not enough to scare Ning Fan. Guang Hanzi was still in a state of deep shock. When he met Ning Fan in the Limitless Pavilion, he could only tell that Ning Fan had a void refinement realm cultivation base. However, he could not tell what his exact cultivation level was. Today, after hearing Du's furious roar, Guang Hanzi finally realized that Ning Fan was actually a void inquiry stage cultivator. Moreover, Ning Fan's abilities were rather powerful. With just a casual palm strike, he could crush Du's attack and even destroy his spirit sense. Guang Hanzi thought to himself. Even some void pierce stage cultivators might not be as powerful as Ning Fan. He admitted that Ning Fan was strong, but he did not think that Ning Fan would dare to offend Du. Also, he did not think that Ning Fan could afford to offend Du. This Liu Bei's abilities are extraordinary. Du is definitely not his match. However, Du is the personal disciple of the Vine Sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. Even the void fragmentation realm experts of the Northern Tree Sea who live in seclusion would have to be wary of him. With such a background, Du can do whatever he wants in the world. Who in the Northern Tree Sea would dare to hurt him? Today, Liu Bei has offended Du. It's better for me not to have anything to do with him anymore so that I won't be implicated by him. Guang Hanzi sighed. Originally, he had sensed that Ning Fan had a damaged ancient puppet and wanted to exchange its fragments with him. Now that he found out that Ning Fan had offended Du, he no longer dared to have a close relationship with Ning Fan no matter what. Even though Guang Hanzi also had a grudge against Du in the past, it was just a trivial grudge. There was still room for reconciliation. If he still befriended Ning Fan despite knowing that Du hated him, he would very likely offend Du to death. Guang Hanzi gritted his teeth and glanced at Ning Fan from the corner of his eyes. Then, he shook his head as if he had made up his mind. With a flash of traveling light, he actually appeared beside Du and smiled apologetically at him. Fei Hua Marquis, please calm down. I have nothing to do with this Liu Bei. He isn't a member of the Northern Tree Sea. Fei Hua Marquis, please don't hold a grudge against me because of this person. I'm innocent. Guang Hanzi's words were not only to draw a clear line between him and Ning Fan but also to express his goodwill to Du secretly. His words might seem unintentional, but he was actually pointing out Ning Fan's name and background. He was trying to sell Ning Fan's information to please Du. Du did not know much about Ning Fan. When he heard Guang Hanzi's words, he immediately sneered. So this young man's name is Liu Bei and he isn't a member of the Northern Tree Sea. Du raised his head coldly and ordered Ning Fan. Liu Bei, is it? I will count to 3. If you still don't agree to be my slave, don't blame me for being merciless. Fei Hua Marquis is right. Fellow Taoist Liu, in my humble opinion, you should kowtow to Fei Hua Marquis and admit your mistake. There are some people in this world that you can't afford to offend. You need to understand this. Guang Hanzi actually spoke up for Du Yu. Du Yu sneered and began to count. 1. 2. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. He did not expect that Guang Hanzi would sell his life and information to please Du Yu. Fortunately, he did not have a deep relationship with Guang Hanzi. Thus, Guang Hanzi's action naturally could not be considered as betrayal. As for the name that Guang Hanzi revealed, it was just a fake name. Ning Fan naturally did not care about it. The entire Guanghan city fell into dead silence. Many cultivators sighed inwardly. In their opinion, even if Ning Fan was a void inquiry stage cultivator, he would still have to submit to power. Du Yu was not scary, but the Vine Sovereign behind him was way too terrifying. In everyone's opinion, Ning Fan certainly knew how difficult the path of cultivation was and how precious longevity was, since he could cultivate to the void inquiry stage. Naturally, he was a person who cherished his life and would eventually lower his head to Du Yu. No one expected that at the moment when Du Yu counted to 3, Ning Fan suddenly took a step forward and pointed a finger at Du Yu. He actually launched an attack at Du Yu, trying to take his life. Little void sword. Ning Fan's tone was indifferent. When he pointed his finger, millions of void sword shadows appeared in the sky and rained down on him like a dense rain. Under the attack of this dense rain of sword light, Du Yu felt that he would certainly die. It was as if the person who attacked him was not Ning Fan but an old monster of the absolute void stage. The power of Ning Fan's attack was even stronger than that of an ordinary absolute void stage cultivator. Du Yu did not expect Ning Fan to be so strong. He also did not expect that Ning Fan was not afraid of the Vine Sovereign's reputation and dared to attack him. If Du Yu knew that Ning Fan was so lawless and powerful, he would definitely retreat immediately. Even if he wanted to take revenge on Ning Fan later, he would bring a large group of people and a few absolute void stage experts with him. Then, he would come to take Ning Fan's life after making sure that everything was in place. Chi. As the dense rain of sword light rained down on Du Yu, he hurriedly summoned his spiritual armor just as he was about to die. In a panic, he patted his storage pouch and took out a life-saving jade pendant. It was given to him by the Vine Sovereign. It could save his life once and defend against a void fragmentation realm attack. Du Yu crushed the life-saving jade pendant. A green light screen slowly rose and formed a light cocoon, covering him within. Even though the millions of little void swords were powerful, they did not manage to destroy this green light cocoon. Du Yu's heart shuddered when he managed to defend against Ning Fan's attack with the help of the jade pendant. At the same time, he crushed 13 jade slips to ask for help in case he chose a direction and fled at top speed. At the moment when he crushed the 13 jade slips, 3 void fragmentation realm experts and 10 absolute void stage experts in the 500 cultivation countries of the North Tree Sea received the message that Du Yu was in danger. All of them were enraged. How dare you? Du Yu is the disciple of the Vine Sovereign. Who dares to hurt him? Du Yu is of great use to the Vine Sovereign. If he dies, the Vine Sovereign will definitely blame us for not protecting him well. Let's go and save him quickly. All of a sudden, 13 peerless experts moved out at the same time and headed straight for the Earth Abyss Kingdom. They made up their minds. No matter who dares to provoke Du Yu, they would kill him or her. Seeing Du Yu crushing the jade slips and turning around to flee, Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged. He took a step forward and vanished without a trace. At the next moment, he directly appeared in front of Du Yu. He raised his hand and pointed at Du Yu again. The millions of little void swords flew towards Du Yu like a whirlwind or a swarm of locusts. This time, Du Yu no longer had his life-saving jade pendant. Looking at the millions of sword shadows, his heart was filled with despair. Then, He actually begged Ning Fan for mercy. "Brother Lu, spare my life. I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Today, I have offended Brother Lu. In the future, I will surely visit you to apologize for my mistake. Please spare my life, Brother Lu." Ning Fan did not utter a single word from the beginning to the end, letting the millions of void swords turn Diyu into a sieve. Then, he casually took out a heavenly dwelling treasure that looked like a cloth bag. He grabbed Diyu's corpse and threw it into it. From the moment Ning Fan attacked to the moment he killed Diyu, only a few breaths had passed. Guang Hanzi's face was already drained of blood because of Ning Fan. All the cultivators in the entire Guanghan city, be it the cultivators from their own country or the cultivators from other countries, were deeply shocked. They knew that Ning Fan had already offended the Vine Sovereign of the West Forest Sea by killing Du Yu. Ning Fan was basically a lawless devil lord. This person must never be provoked. Even if one has a powerful background, one would still die if they offend him. Fellow Taoist Lu. When he thought of how he had sided with Du Yu and revealed Ning Fan's background, Guang Hanzi's heart turned cold. He did not know if Ning Fan would kill him for revenge. However, Ning Fan just gave Guang Hanzi a cold glance and asked coldly, "Do you know how to repair puppets?" It was as if as long as Guang Hanzi said no, Ning Fan would immediately kill him. "I know." Guang Hanzi gritted his teeth. Inwardly, he guessed that if he says no, Ning Fan would certainly turn him into ashes. "Since that's the case, come with me." Ning Fan indifferently raised a finger and pressed it down on Guang Hanzi. He was actually going to plant a mental seal on him and make him his slave. Guang Hanzi's face turned bitter. However, he did not dare to resist at all and just let Ning Fan plant the mental seal on him. After that, Ning Fan kept Guang Hanzi into his heavenly dwelling pouch. He was actually going to kidnap him and help him repair his puppets. If Guang Hanzi did not court death, Ning Fan would at most kill Du Yu and would not harm Guang Hanzi's life. Unfortunately, Guang Hanzi had betrayed Ning Fan to please Du Yu. Ning Fan would certainly not show any mercy. The entire Guanghan city fell into dead silence. Ning Fan stood in midair and looked down at the vast cultivation city beneath his feet. Now that he had offended the Vine Sovereign, he probably would not be able to live a peaceful life in the tree world in the future. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to keep a low profile. There were 100,000 cultivation shops in this Guanghan city. There were quite a lot of good items. Ning Fan turned into a ray of traveling light and returned to the city. "Before I leave this city, I might as well rob all the good items in this city." Chapter 563. Guang Hanzi was the largest trading city in the North Tree Sea. There were a total of 100,000 cultivation shops. The nominal lord of the city was Guang Hanzi. However, this city implicated the vital interests of dozens of void refinement realm forces in the dark. Ning Fan killed Du Yu in the city, kidnapped Guang Hanzi and plundered the entire city. In just one day, his name spread across the entire North Tree Sea. When the 13 Absolute Void Stage and Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters arrived at the city, Ning Fan was already gone. The entire city had been plundered clean. 3 days later, the Vine Sovereign of the West Tree Sea learned about Du Yu's death. She was enraged and sent out countless experts to hunt Ning Fan down. 10 days later, Ning Fan's wanted posters were everywhere in the West Tree Sea and the North Tree Sea. Villain Liu Bei, a Void Inquiry Stage cultivator, killed the Vine Sovereign's disciple in the deep country of the North Tree Sea. The Vine Sovereign is furious. Whoever kills Liu Bei will be rewarded with 10 billion immortal jades and 10 bottles of 6th Revolution pills. The East Tree Sea and the South Tree Sea did not strictly put Ning Fan on the wanted list. It was probably because the Tree Sovereigns and the Vine Sovereign did not get along well. In the North Tree Sea, on a desolate mountain, Ning Fan held a wanted poster in his hand. His eyes turned cold. After plundering the city, he immediately left the city and went to dozens of cultivation countries to avoid the pursuit of countless experts. I didn't expect to be wanted by the vine sovereign of the West Tree Sea. If that's the case, it will be a little troublesome to sneak into the West Tree Sea. The Fire Tree clan was located in the West Tree Sea. It was the place where Ning Fan planned to go. However, the West Tree Sea was the Vine Sovereign's territory. Now that Ning Fan killed Du and angered the Vine Sovereign, he would probably be hunted down by countless cultivators if he goes there. He could not go to the West Tree Sea, and the North Tree Sea was also very dangerous. Ning Fan plundered the city and plundered 20 billion immortal jades, countless spiritual herbs, magic treasures and cultivation methods. He even obtained 4 void refinement realm Dao fruits. What he did also offended countless forces in the North Tree Sea. According to what he knew, there were countless forces in the 500-plus cultivation countries that wanted to kill him. It's not suitable to go to the West Tree Sea for now. I can stay in the tree world for 3 years. I can't stay in the Northern Tree Sea for a long time either. Currently, there are already 3 void fragmentation realm experts chasing after me. It's really troublesome to offend the Vine Sovereign. However, so what if I offend her? Ning Fan's eyes were emotionless. Du was the one who came to seek death, so he naturally wouldn't regret killing someone. His thoughts raced. Since the Fire Tree clan wasn't in a hurry to go, he could do other things first. When Ning Fan was ransacking Moon City, he had obtained a few hundred divine tree fruits. This fruit was very similar to the Divine Truth Stone. It had the effect of increasing one's intent realm. It was a special spirit fruit that grew in the Eastern Tree Sea of the Tree Realm. The Shin-Yi stone was a kind of mineral in the Rain Immortal world. It was not easy to form and its quantity was limited. The Tree God fruit, on the other hand, was a type of spirit fruit. As long as one was willing to pay the price to cultivate it, they could have as many as they wanted. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He did not know how many Divine E stones he would need to raise his Rain intent to the 1st grade. Even if all the Divine Strength stones in the entire Rain world were added up, it might not be enough for Ning Fan to break through to the 1st grade intent realm. But in the tree world, as long as he could get his hands on enough Tree God fruits, it might not be impossible for him to attain a 1st grade intent realm. The Tree God fruit was a specialty of the Eastern Tree Sea. If Ning Fan wants to obtain a large amount of Tree God fruits, he might have to make a trip to the Eastern Tree Sea. The Tree Sovereign of the Southern Tree Sea was the Willow Sovereign. The Tree Sovereign of the Eastern Tree Sea was the Bamboo Sovereign. No matter what, I have to go to the Eastern Tree Sea at least once. However, before I leave, I can first repair my spiritual puppets, deal with my young body and my spoils of war. Ning Fan performed a hand seal and displayed an escape technique that he had obtained from Guanghan City, wood escape technique. His body slowly sank into the mountain of trees. He waved his hand and struck out a sword light, opening up a massive space at the center of the mountain of trees. He then embedded many moonlight stones into the walls to illuminate the space. Immediately, he opened up a temporary cave abode. Then, he patted his cloth pouch and released Guang Hanzi. It seemed like he had something to ask him. Guang Hanzi had already been planted with a mental seal by Ning Fan and became his slave. He would never dare to betray him in this life. During the 10+ days that he was captured by Ning Fan, Guang Hanzi was filled with regret. He regretted why he betrayed Ning Fan and fawned on Du in the past, which led to the current disaster. A void glimpse stage city lord had now become someone else's slave. His ending was indeed rather tragic. Just as he was feeling sorry for himself, when he was suddenly released by Ning Fan, he immediately put away all of his expressions. He did not dare to show any hint of dissatisfaction as he was afraid of angering Ning Fan. Ning Fan's cold gaze swept across Guang Hanzi. Guang Hanzi's heart shuddered. He immediately rubbed his hands and smiled apologetically. Fellow Taoist Lu, no. It's time to call me master. I wonder what instructions do you have for me by summoning me out? I will certainly complete master's orders even if I have to go through fire and water. This Guang Hanzi was a man who knew when to submit and when to submit. Even though he regretted being captured by Ning Fan and did not dare to do so, he knew how to humble himself and become Ning Fan's slave respectfully. Guang Hanzi did not dare to be disrespectful. His eyesight was not weak. He could tell that Ning Fan was an unscrupulous devil lord. Even the reputation of the Vine Sovereign could not scare Ning Fan. Such a ferocious devil lord could kill him with just a thought. Guang Hanzi would never dare to offend him. Do you know why I spared your life? Ning Fan asked indifferently. Master, do you want me to repair your spiritual puppets? Guang Hanzi asked tentatively. That's right. I have 2 spiritual puppets here. If you can repair them, I will remove your mental restriction spell and set you free. If you can't repair them. Guang Hanzi could roughly guess the rest of Ning Fan's words. Immediately, he felt extremely nervous. He did not wish for Ning Fan to set him free. He only wished that Ning Fan would not kill him. Master, don't worry. I will definitely do my best to help you repair your spiritual puppets. Very good. The spiritual puppets are right here. See how confident you are in repairing them. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out countless puppet fragments. He divided them into 2 piles and placed them on the ground. One pile of puppet fragments exuded a dense fiery aura, while the other pile of puppet fragments had dense purple electric arcs flowing around it. These 2 piles of puppet fragments were none other than Jihua and Jidian. The moment the 2 piles of puppet fragments appeared, a vast puppet cheese spread out, causing the entire tree mountain to tremble slightly. Guang Hanzi's eyes were filled with astonishment. The wooden token on his waist directly shattered. In the past, he had sensed that Ning Fan possessed spiritual puppets because of this wooden token. Today, this wooden token could not withstand the chi of the 2 spiritual puppets and was destroyed just like that. Guang Hanzi's face turned pale with fright as he stared at the 2 piles of puppet fragments in front of him. He could not believe that Ning Fan's spiritual puppets were actually such terrifying things. Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. No. Not only that. These are Heavenly Tribulation puppets. He stared at Ning Fan with incomparable terror. Ning Fan had planted a restriction spell on these 2 spiritual puppets. Guang Hanzi certainly understood what it meant. He could not imagine that Ning Fan could actually capture a Heavenly Tribulation messenger and turn them into his spiritual puppets. This man is a madman. He is definitely a madman. He even dares to capture Heavenly Tribulation puppets. He even dares to defy the Heavenly Tao. No wonder he is not afraid of the Vine Sovereign. This man is simply a lawless person. Besides, he can even capture Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. His abilities are definitely not simple. He is not an ordinary Void Refinement Realm cultivator. Absolutely not. Guang Hanzi's eyes were filled with astonishment while Ning Fan's eyes remained calm. How confident are you in repairing these 2 spiritual puppets? As soon as he heard Ning Fan's question, Guang Hanzi's heart skipped a beat. He regained his senses and carefully examined the 2 piles of puppet fragments again. He was a puppet master. In terms of puppetry techniques alone, he was already the best in the tree world. As long as he has enough materials, he could even create Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. However, it was his first time seeing Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. To be honest, he did not have the slightest confidence in repairing these 2 spiritual puppets. However, he naturally did not dare to tell Ning Fan about this. If he could not repair these 2 spiritual puppets, Ning Fan would definitely not let him off just because he had offended Ning Fan previously. I have half confidence in repairing these 2 spiritual puppets. Guang Hanzi lied. He raised his head and smiled apologetically. However, his eyes met Ning Fan's cold and sharp gaze. Lying to me isn't a wise choice. With Ning Fan's intelligence, he could tell that Guang Hanzi was lying from the changes in his expression. Guang Hanzi's lack of confidence in repairing these 2 spiritual puppets made Ning Fan feel slightly disappointed. However, it was also within his expectations. After all, Guang Hanzi was just a void glimpse stage cultivator. If he could repair void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets, it would be too heaven-defying. Since you can't repair these spiritual puppets, then, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with indifference. He took a step forward and his killing intent surged. Guang Hanzi felt a chill down his spine. Even his knees were trembling. Who would be willing to die after reaching this level of cultivation? Guang Hanzi clenched his teeth. He was not willing to die. He was going to risk it all. Master, please calm down. It's true that I can't repair these two spiritual puppets. However, my master had once repaired void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets. Oh. Your master can repair void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets. Where is he? Can you bring me to see him? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. He stopped in his tracks and asked. My master is already dead. Guang Hanzi swallowed his saliva. As soon as he said that, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light again. Guang Hanzi was frightened. He immediately waved his hand and added. Even though my master is dead, he passed the method of repairing void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets to me. I don't have the confidence to repair void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets. Firstly, it's because I have never tried it before. Secondly, it's because the materials needed to repair void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets are extremely rare and precious. If you have enough materials, how confident are you that you can repair these two spiritual puppets? 30%. Guang Hanzi learned his lesson and no longer dared to lie. 30%, huh? Ning Fan nodded his head and revealed a satisfied look. With Guang Hanzi's cultivation base, it was already very rare for him to have a 30% chance of repairing the two puppets. Since Guang Hanzi could repair the spiritual puppets for him, it could be considered as him atoning for his mistake. Ning Fan would naturally forgive Guang Hanzi for offending him. Imprint the required materials on a jade slip and give it to me. Ning Fan ordered. Yes. I will imprint the jade slip right away. Guang Hanzi felt relieved inwardly. His face was filled with joy. Judging from Ning Fan's tone, he would not kill him for the time being. He immediately imprinted a jade slip and passed it to Ning Fan. Then, he kept it into his heavenly dwelling pouch. After returning to his heavenly dwelling, Guang Hanzi heaved a deep sigh of relief. His face was filled with worry. Just by exchanging a few words with Ning Fan, his clothes were already soaked with cold sweat. Ning Fan is really too scary. Too scary, this person treats his enemies coldly, but he also seems to be a person who keeps his promises. I have offended him previously. Unless I help him repair the spiritual puppets, I will definitely die. However, if I can successfully repair the spiritual puppets, I might still have a chance of survival. Sigh. Hopefully, after I help him repair the spiritual puppets, he will show mercy and let me go. In the cave on the mountain, Ning Fan kept the puppet fragments. He held the jade slip in his hand and scanned through it with his spirit sense. Then, he let out a soft sigh. The method to repair the spiritual puppets was recorded in the jade slip. It also recorded hundreds of types of precious spiritual ores and spiritual woods. All of them were required to repair the spiritual puppets. Among them, there were 12 types of spiritual ores. Each of them was priced at more than 10 billion immortal jade. All of them were extremely precious items. Even though Ning Fan was not proficient in refining spiritual puppets, he knew a lot about them. He scanned through the jade slip and carefully considered the method of repairing the spiritual puppets recorded in it. After discovering that there were no mistakes in the method, he finally believed that Guang Hanzi had 30% confidence in repairing the void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets. No wonder Guang Hanzi said that he had no confidence in repairing the spiritual puppets previously. The cost of repairing the two puppets requires at least 200 billion immortal jade. Immortal jade alone isn't enough. I still need to find those precious spiritual ores. With Guang Hanzi's cultivation base, he definitely won't be able to gather enough immortal jade to repair the spiritual puppets. Even for me, it won't be an easy task to gather such a huge amount of immortal jade and rare spiritual materials. Ning Fan withdrew his expression and his lips curved into a smile. In order to have a 30% chance of repairing the Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets, Ning Fan would gather all the materials no matter what. If he could afford it, he would buy it. If he couldn't, he would just rob it. After dealing with the spiritual puppets, Ning Fan entered the dark golden pagoda of the Yuanya world with a flash and began to refine all of his spoils of war. Improving his rain intent was very important. Repairing the spiritual puppets was very important. Increasing his cultivation base was also very important. Ning Fan took out the divine intent stone and the tree god fruit and refined them one by one. After 10 years of seclusion on the 7th floor of the pagoda, his rain intent realm broke through to the 4th grade realm. He took out the 10 bottles of Mirage Sea pills that Chu Cheng and gave him and consumed them one by one. He took out the many 6th revolution pills and void refinement realm Dao fruits that he plundered from the vast cold city and consumed them one by one. His magic power increased bit by bit. Another 20 years passed in the pagoda. Ning Fan's magic power had increased to 9.2 million units. He was still 800,000 units away from breaking through to the Void Pierce stage. He still had the rogue immortal Dao fruit that he had yet to consume. If he consumes it, it would probably be enough for him to break through to the Void Pierce stage in one go. It's time to prepare for breaking through to the Void Pierce stage. I wonder what kind of scale the heavenly tribulation of the Void Pierce stage this time will be. In order to be safe, I must repair my spiritual puppets before undergoing the tribulation. 30 years had passed on the 7th floor of the pagoda, but only 3 months had passed in the outside world. After his magic power increased, Ning Fan was not in a hurry to leave the pagoda. Instead, he took out Duyu's corpse. Duyu had the Scarlet Yang physique, which was one of the 7 Yang physiques. His flesh and blood contained a vast amount of Yang power. If he absorbs Duyu's Yang power, he would be able to complete the first Yang spirit of the Steel of Sun and Moon. At that time, Ning Fan would be able to use the Steel of Sun and Moon at will and release a Void Fragmentation Realm attack to attack his enemies. Use the Yin Yang flame to refine Duyu's corpse. Incinerate his remains and refine his Yang spirit. Luo Yu reminded him in his mind. Ning Fan nodded his head and pointed a finger at Duyu's corpse. Duyu's corpse immediately flew up and floated in midair. Then, Ning Fan opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of black flames, engulfing Duyu's corpse. In just an instant, Duyu's corpse turned into ashes and dissipated. All of his Scarlet Yang power remained in the black flames. Inside the black flames, the Scarlet Yang power slowly condensed into a 100 zhang large fiery red sun. As the black flames burned, the sun gradually shrunk. 100 zhang. 100 zhang. 3 qi. 2 cun. That Scarlet Yang power was eventually refined into a fiery red light ball that was 1 inch in size. The Scarlet Yang power inside the light ball was extremely pure. It could no longer be refined any further. Ning Fan kept the black flames and beckoned with his palm, drawing the fiery red light ball into his palm. Immediately, he felt a scorching qi rushing towards his face. His eyes were calm. After a long time, he suddenly opened his mouth and swallowed the red light ball into his stomach. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's body began to burn from the inside out as if it was burning. The Scarlet Yang power was really powerful. After refining it, even Ning Fan's physical body could not withstand the Scarlet Yang qi. Ning Fan consumed a healing pill and waved his palm to summon the 99 natal black stars. He quickly healed his injuries and suppressed the injuries of his body that were burning. At the same time, he quickly refined the Scarlet Yang power. In the profound Yin world, among the 7 sun-shaped grooves on the Steel of Sun and Moon that had been standing since ancient times, the first groove was slowly filled with the Scarlet Yang spirit. At this moment, the first yang spirit and the first yin spirit of the steel of sun and moon had been completed. At this moment, Ning Fan could take out the steel of sun and moon from the profound yin world with just a thought and launch a void fragmentation realm attack at any time. Not only that. After refining the scarlet yang power, Ning Fan's body was suddenly surrounded by the scarlet yang power and the purple yin power. The scarlet yang power came from Diyu while the purple yin power came from Yuan Yao. Ning Fan felt an unbearable burning pain on one half of his body while the other half of his body seemed to have fallen into an icy cold state and was slowly freezing. However, at the moment when the yin and yang power converged, his physical body suddenly shattered. At the next moment, his physical body was reconstructed under the combination of the yin and yang power. His physical body was broken and reconstructed again and again. In the past, Ning Fan did not have any special physique. However, as his physical body was being reconstructed time and time again, traces of yin and yang power flowed into his body. At this moment, Ning Fan could faintly feel that his physical body had gained another type of physique. The primordial spirit in his dantian had already turned half black and half white. It was extremely strange. This is the minor 5 elements physique. In the profound yin world, Luo Yu suddenly exclaimed. Even though she knew the method to merge the steel spirits of the steel of sun and moon, she had never really seen anyone merge the yin and yang steel spirits. Even Luo Yu did not know that after Ning Fan merged the first yin spirit and the yang spirit of the steel of sun and moon, his physical body would actually be reconstructed and a brand new physique would be born. This type of physique was called the minor 5 elements physique. It was somewhat similar to the inextinguishable fire body. The inextinguishable fire body could restrain fire, and so could the minor 5 elements constitution. In terms of defense against fire, the inextinguishable fire body was far superior to the minor 5 elements constitution. However, the owner of the lesser 5 elements constitution could not only restrain fire, but could also restrain the other 4 elements, metal, wood, water, and earth. The suppression of a single 5 elements was not high, but it was superior in suppressing all 5 elements. The indestructible fire body could not be upgraded, but in ancient times, there were ancient cultivators who cultivated the minor 5 elements body and evolved it into the major 5 elements body. The great 5 elements constitution's restraint towards the 5 elements was extremely heaven-defying. It was not something that the inextinguishable fire body could compare to. Could it be? The yin-yang steel spirit that fused with the steel of sun and moon could not only increase the power of the magical treasure but also improve the physique of the cultivator? If that's the case, you might be able to upgrade your minor 5 elements constitution to the major 5 elements constitution by gathering the yin-yang monument spirits. Luo Yu's beautiful eyes were filled with emotion. I didn't expect that by collecting the spirit of the steel of sun and moon, one could actually form a constitution. Little 5 elements constitution, right? Ning Fan revealed a thoughtful expression. After a long time, he suddenly swept his dantian with his spirit sense towards the yin-yang locket. Only then did he notice that the small jade lock had undergone some subtle changes. It was not that his appearance had changed but his connection with Ning Fan had become closer. Ning Fan seemed to have sensed something. He suddenly rose to his feet and left the Yuanyao world, directly entering the profound yin world. Standing in the profound yin world, Ning Fan suddenly raised his head and saw a crescent moon that was half black and half white appearing out of nowhere in the hazy sky. There was originally nothing in the profound yin